songs on the beat.
Woo! What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And, of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Yep, kicking off a new week, but this is Victory Tuesday / Preview Tuesday for the upcoming game against the Lions. First, we're going to talk about the Steeler game and the injury updates, along with some roster moves for our Cowboys, kicking off the new, I can say, the week 6 here.
It's closing the chapter on those terrible towels.
Yeah, and it was a terribly played game by the Cowboys, I would say, but everything going against us, and we pull out the win in the end. The W is what matters, but yeah, we got to also be realistic. Nothing, it's not like we're a Super Bowl or even a playoff run type of team, but we do have glimpses, which we've had for 3 years straight. We can't get it done in the playoffs. Anyways, one step at a time, one kick at a time. There you see our Cowboy kicking that Steeler right off the freaking beam. And Schittsburg got defeated here. You can see them defeated in the ground there. But now we have to turn our attention to Detroit, and we'll do all of that and more here tonight, along with having a very special guest here from the Over Everything level, Mr. Seabass. He'll be on the show tonight for a little Q&A with him and discussion with him. So can't wait to hear from him. But we got a lot of things to discuss, a lot of things to talk about here as we do a double take. A little quick preview at the end of the stream before we talk to Seabass about Detroit. But the rest of the thing is going to be about this game, the injuries, the moves we made, and this Steeler game. So, baby, before we get going there, let's talk about the family here. The chat. The family, the chat, the memberships, the people who drop the love, the people who represent the boards. And who is the takeover guy this week as a sponsor of the week?
A familiar name, the man John Luna.
Yes.
Thank you so much. He is the current sponsor of the week and the membership gifting champion.
That's right. He went in there and took it over on both boards. He had both these boards, I think, 2 weeks ago. So 2 out of the last 3 weeks or 2 out of the last 4 weeks, John Luna dominating here. 50% or more or higher win rate here on MyCowboysFamily. So big shout out to John Luna on both those boards. And also we got 2 other boards like Harley Dad repping 65 points on the Stream Boss, and then the king of the Cash App, Cap52 in the house. Much love to you guys. Can't do this without you all. And we also have some leaders, not on those boards though. Nobody on the membership gifting board yet. John Luna repping it there, like we said earlier. And Cap52, no one yet on his tail when it comes to the Cash App board. But the overall board, you just saw it above, membership star level. Lincoln Kane, he's in first place right now with 3 others traveling there behind him, like Traveling Fools, who's tied in second there with his membership, Amazing Games, and Captain DCW, all tied for second. We'll see how that turns out tonight, where things are at as the night ends. But, we're in Florida. We got a lot of stuff going on, so again, we apologize for another delay here.
I know.
We may not even be able to go live Friday because we are right dead in the eye of the storm here, basically. Going to get hit, bullseye, by this hurricane that's coming down to Florida.
It's actually kind of funny how directly, not funny, but kind of funny how this one is heading straight for us.
Yeah, like
so
directly
we
over
are,
us. So
just assuming and preparing for the worst.
Yeah.
And hoping for the best.
We've readied up. We got everything good to go. So at least that side of things, we are staying safe. And
only one thing left to do for this hurricane. Just select our adult libation of choice and start off this hurricane party.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, this one, I'm going to be honest, is not really a hurricane party because this is a real, I would say one of the scarier ones, at least on the horizon. So, yeah, not too much hurricane partying going on.
And just so everybody knows as well, we are not in a evacuation zone or anything like that. We're not close enough to the coast for that to be relevant. Very lucky to be.
Yeah. And in a good spot when it comes to flooding too. Look at where our location is pretty high up comparatively, but the biggest thing for us,
no need to evacuate for that.
Yeah, no need to evacuate, but we did do everything but board up the windows when it comes to the winds and debris flying around, and hopefully we are okay there. Of course, losing power is a probability, so if we lose power, we won't be able to go live on Friday. And I hope we can go live and watch the game. Be honest with you guys on Sunday against the Lions. So we hope everything, number one, knock on wood, that everyone that gets hit with this hurricane is safe, including us. And number two, if we are not live, and you guys know why, we'll post it in Discord or post it on Twitter so you guys know what the deal is and that we're safe and that. But we can't go live, or we will go live. We got our power back.
They only just I think an hour ago canceled the trash pickup service and things like that. So we still have to move our trash cans again.
Yeah, we got to remove and then move our trash cans back to a secure location. So yeah, our night's not over even after the stream is done. So yeah, we still got some last second tidying up to do before the stream before the hurricane hits. Literally about 24 hours from right now. Yes. It'll be in the middle of it in a really bad situation. Hopefully we'll get through it without much issues.
Yes, and definitely keep in your hearts and minds everybody who is not able to evacuate if they need to or things like that. This is definitely a deadly storm, and you know, take care of your friends, family, loved ones. Make sure to check in on them if they are in the path, you know, hopefully
we'll be checking in with you guys as well. Yeah,
yes.
We'll be checking in with you guys as well through Twitter and Discord, just to let you know, and at everyone, so you guys know we're okay. And you know, we lost power or we got power back, and we'll be going live on Friday or whatever it is. That's the hope. That's the hope. But yes, like I was saying, Cash App King Cat 52. Nobody is on that board right now, so that's empty. Harley Dad, though, he's repping 65. He's a Niner fan, so hopefully before the game against the Lions, that will be a different. No offense to Harley Dad, but can't have a 49er representing our board.
I already said he's an honorary Cowboy fan. I know. He's representing. It's always Go Cowboys.
He is representing the MCF family, but yeah, he's still a Niner fan at heart, and we got to kick him out of there.
Yes.
Anyways, there's a lot of ways to help out the channel here.
Yeah, sorry for the slightly longer intro, guys. Figured we'd give you the hurricane update now before we give you the Cowboy out updates. So,
yeah, I mean, the hurricane update's pretty important. Yeah.
Drop the love and show the love. You already saw Mr. Cab 52, how he took over as the Cash App King there with one of these ways of supporting the channel, right? You have, of course, the Cash App, Money Sound, My Cowboys Family, the Venmo app, My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal, of course, and the Streamlabs link, which lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
And those ways
like
you do it,
did.
Yeah, and those ways are, those are the different ways you can do that, like outside of YouTube. That's why we do it on the After Dark live streams that you can only watch while we're live. You can't rewind. There's no rewatching. They're deleted. But you have to know where to go for those. And if you search, you can find us if you want to see those things. But that's not football. This is football here, Dallas Cowboy football. And those are the ways we can work off of YouTube. But on YouTube, there's a super chat, of course. There's a thanks button. There's jumping into the membership. There's 4 different levels. And then there's gifting memberships. One of the best ways of helping, giving back. You have to be in the membership to be able to gift memberships. But once you're in there, you can gift memberships, and that's really an awesome way to help out people that don't have them and can get a 1-month trial and drop those emojis. Now, I did not change the emojis yet. I do apologize. I've been very busy. But for the next stream, we'll have our Detroit Lion emojis. This is more of a Pittsburgh Steelers stream with just a sprinkle of some Lions. So we'll get into that and more here tonight on My Cowboys Family. And one last thing I wanted to say, maybe because we are talking about membership levels, forget that raffle. It's coming around the corner, hopefully Friday. We get this one done on Fan Friday if we got our signal here and electricity running, power.
Our next live stream will hopefully be
star level, over everything level. Star level gets 1 raffle entry, over everything gets 2 raffle entries, and we get a raffle going here, a monthly jersey raffle, sewn and stitched jerseys. A lot of you can see here, a lot of choices, a lot of styles, all sizes, men, women, children. Weekly winners also. In this case, as an example, John Luna is our sponsor of the week. He has got a bonus entry in there. I think he's also a star level member. So, he's got a star level entry and he's got a weekly winner entry. I think he may have 2 for the month of September. So we'll go into that. This one might count for October. So this is actually, John Luna has a bonus raffle entry for the month of October. But our September raffle is coming on next time we go live, Friday or Sunday if it has to be for the game. So just wanted to shout out everybody as we do on the nightly, in the membership board when it comes to the top shelf stuff. We got the navy blue, we got the silver 2 levels, right? The silver level as well. But then you got that star and over everything level memberships, which right now, John Luna fell off for now, but he should be back in there soon. Who else is in that star and over everything level, baby?
You have, of course, Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical. Jet Li 44, LC and over everything. Chill Pill.
The chillest of all pills. Much love to Chill Pill. Representing it on the After Dark for 3 months, and here now in the over everything level as well. And she's always welcome to come on this channel to talk football if she'd like. You don't have to do that either. So big shout outs to everybody on those levels, and hey, those will be the names you'll see for the October raffle coming up around the corner.
That's right, and can't wait because in just a few moments here, we're gonna touch on a few things before we have our special guest, Mr. Seabass, on here, who is gonna be flexing that over everything membership perk.
Yes, he's gonna have a little 30-minute, 45-minute corner to discuss his views on our Cowboys and up to this point how we've been doing, and that's on the over everything level. once a month you can jump in here and drop your 2 cents on how you're feeling about our team. So we're going to see that a little later. Now, and right now, the first official drop live stream on our live stream for the week. It's the man, Calvin Richard, with that 5 on it.
Woo! Thank you so much, Calvin. Much love. With an optimistic bit of news to start things off, asking, did I hear correctly? Bland is back?
Oh, we'll discuss. We'll
add a little asterisk to that statement.
Yeah.
But there's some positive news.
Yes, definitely.
On that side of things. I don't know how back he is quite yet.
Yeah, we're gonna say that he's maybe gonna get a possibility to be on that field this week.
Yeah, and honestly, I want your thoughts, like based on some of the commentary we heard. Remember, it's only Tuesday. There is a chance, right? That's that from what movie is that? Dumb and Dumber, I think, right? Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah. Well, we are saying there's a chance, and we'll get into more of the details behind. Yeah,
but the thing is that there's 2 different sides to this. I'm hearing, so we're gonna take a chill pill and kind of go through that here piece by piece when we get to that, and it'll be soon. Don't worry, Mr. Calvin Richard. Appreciate you, big shout out, and he's tied for 2nd place on the board right now, just tied with 3 others behind Mr. LC in 1st place.
Let me do the shout outs here in the chat and then hand things off to Mr. MCF.
We get it rolling, and then the sooner I get done with this part of the news, guys, the sooner we get Mr. Seabass to break down his thoughts.
I promise I won't interrupt. But Mr. Seabass, of course, in the house. What's up? Much love. And by the way, Seabass, I really hope your friends and family are safe. I know you said you had a few of them that were directly in the path, so please make sure you I hope they're doing okay. Of course, we have Scorpio in the house. Yes, that was really funny. He dropped he's dropping some of the exclamation points. And you know how it has like the little the winner is. He just picks a person randomly. It said Scorpio's not subscribed. Clearly he is, since he's here with us in the chat. And has been subscribed for quite a few years. Just thought that was funny. Aztec Aguilar 04, what's up? Much love. Taz, what's up? Saying Dak still sucks. Hey, Dak giveth and he taketh away, but this time he giveth. So, credit where credit's due. Burn Bar, of course, Bong Gang. Don't worry, all the bongs are nice and safe and protected from the storm. What's up, True Cowboy? Hello and hi. We have, let me see, rolling back here. Double R, respect to you. Thanks for hanging with us. Jim's here, much love. Again, like we said, we are thankfully decently inland. So
30, good 30, 40 miles in, 30 miles in. So we're good in that sense, on that side of things.
Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, what's up? Hey. Happy Tuesday. It's a Victory Tuesday here on the MCF side of things.
Another DB in the house.
We have Jarrah Jones. Who he said, the older I get, the more sexy I look. And I told him, don't worry, you don't look a day over 4,000.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our thumbnail, you'll see that's Jarrah Jones right there in front of the microphone. Anyways.
Chocolate! Revolution journalist said Dak is the Neo of the Cowboys front office, the Matrix of Jerry and Stephen Jones' fan base. Oh, Brandon J, what's up? Much love. So, oh man, holy crap, that's rough, Seabass. Like I said, please keep us updated on that side of things. I hope your family stays safe. I can tell you someone who's not safe though, unfortunately, and he is much farther north of us than Florida. So, baby, I know. Let's NFL go ahead and kick start because this was kind of a not funny, haha, but even I was like shocked the way that it went down there in the Jets. Yeah, guys.
Football, NFL news outside of the Cowboys. Robert Saleh was fired today for the head coach of no longer the head coach of the New York Jets. This morning he was fired, and then supposedly he was in the middle of a meeting or something like this, and the security came and said time to go and fired him on the spot. He was taken aback by that. They had to get security to escort him out. There was no meeting with players to inform them that he's going to be leaving and somebody else taking over.
Walked him out of the building, guys.
Exactly. Perp walk right out of there. It was pretty humiliating, I guess. And he was in the building working, and then he was out of the building and out of a job. So again, I heard Shanahan was asked, what do you think about your former defensive coordinator being now, fired and being out there? Just maybe he'll be part of their staff possibly. So, I still think I don't know what went on there, but Saleh. He's out, and they don't like his vision for the team, whatever that was. Whether it was Aaron Rodgers, whether it was getting rid of this guy or that guy, moving these guys around, trading this. he's out, and they don't like him. They obviously did it with malice. It feels like.
Yeah, and of course now the joke is that Aaron Rodgers strikes again.
Yeah.
Another coach fired.
Coach killer.
Yeah. He was not happy with him.
Yeah. So, yeah, it could be Aaron Rodgers saying, "Hey, it was eventually the death of Robert Saleh." Now there is Patriots safety Jabril Peppers out there right now, and early Saturday morning in Braintree, he was arrested. And police said he was charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, strangulation, and possession of a Class B substance. So, I think it was cocaine, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. Either way, Jabril Peppers, man, not a good situation for him there.
Yeah, it sounds like that party went from 0 to 60.
Yeah, it was not a good party. Now, we always say, Tuesdays we always get the power rankings, and we always say, fuck the power rankings.
Fuck the power rankings.
But, we did win against the Pittsburgh Steelers here, 20-17, and it was a game that a lot of even Cowboy fans were like, yeah, well, I don't expect us to kind of win this game. We might hang, we ain't going to win it. Well, a lot of places went from like 12-9. NFL.com went from 17th to 13th. ESPN 15th, we went up to 10th with them. USA Today 22nd, we moved all the way up to 14th with this win. Yahoo Sports said 15th, now we're 12th. CBS Sports, we went from 13th to 9th. The Athletic 14th to 9th, and Sports Illustrated 17th up to 13th from them. So, you can see most of these jumps going into close to top 10 or top 10 already, just like that. But off the power rankings, guys. And what do I always say? Outside of fuck the power rankings, there's only one power ranking that matters, and that's who wins the Super Bowl. The Niners, they ain't happy with being ranked second. Trust me on that. So what all matters is who's number one at the end of the year holding the trophy up. Now, as we move into kind of a league thing, now we're moving more into our Cowboys here, like we just did our little power ranking breakdown there. But let's go into the Dak Prescott situation. And what I mean by that is with Dak Prescott, in the passing yardage in the NFL, he was like fourth, I think, or third last week. Geno Smith is first this week still, overall in the season, 1,466 yards. Dak is second with 1,424 yards.
Oh, wow.
He's basically 42 yards away from Geno Smith. So, Dak is still slinging it and, getting those yards, and which is not an easy thing to do in the NFL. But nonetheless, Dak is second highest in yardage thrown this year. C.J. Stroud is third, about 50 back on Dak. Brock Purdy is fourth.
Where's the east side?
And Brock Purdy is fourth at 1,374, and 1,373 is Kirk Cousins on the Falcons. That's your top five quarterbacks. We're not really, CeeDee Lamb's up in the, trying to break in there. He kind of probably dropped back out of the top 10 of receivers. We have no running backs in the top 10. So, just saying, like, that's the only guy showing up on the NFL leaderboards on the top 10 list of anything, pretty much. Dak Prescott in passing yardage. Pretty much.
Just based off of where we're at right now, even I have to admit that some of those yards are garbagey,
so to kind of garbage flavored.
Yeah.
Well, now I will say this. Continuing, that there were some moves for the Cowboys. All right, the Cowboys made some moves. Now, which jersey did I wear the other day? Number 55. That was Carl Lawson, practice squad elevation. Yeah, I was repping 55. Carl Lawson. Today, the Cowboys promoted him from the practice squad to the 53-man roster. And yes, I'll say yes. I'll take my flowers. I'll say yes. Well, you're welcome, everybody. Because
well earned and well deserved in Lawson's case.
Yes, he earned it. We saw him on the field, had that juice that we were missing for sure without Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence. And he's a guy I said had to come up big in this game. He was doing better in the last game, and I wanted to really see if he could continue that, and he did in my eyes. And I said this guy should be on the 53-man roster, and here he is. So he's on the 53-man roster now, officially. And I'll explain how we made these moves. The Cowboys then also signed two players to the practice squad. Signed wide receiver Seth Williams and defensive edge rusher Leji Villian to the practice. Both these guys were worked out today with a bunch of other players, and they were both signed to the practice squad. So we got another receiver, Seth Williams, and edge rusher Leji Villian. So now the Cowboys also worked out a big-name player at receiver, Denzel Mims. Maybe he was asking for a little bit more money the Cowboys want to pay because, or maybe he didn't do good in the workout. But Denzel Mims was not signed. Again, Seth Williams, the very, very cheap receiver, compared to Denzel Mims. He was the one that was signed, not Denzel Mims. So the Cowboys didn't, even though they worked out Denzel Mims, no signing on him. They also worked out Dante Pettis, another known veteran receiver. Chad Cota. Then they also worked out quarterback Max Duggan, who the Cowboys liked when he's been, in the draft, and also edge rusher Shaka Toney, which, if you remember, we had him, and then the Cowboys released him. Again, it's kind of funny that we even looked at him a second time, but either way, Denzel Mims was the big name in the workout that did not get signed. If you were wondering, you can say maybe Dante Pettis, but he's definitely not as big of a name than Denzel Mims. Cowboys went and got Seth Williams. Seth Williams, he's a 6'3", 230-pound wide receiver. And according to, if you look at the video, you look at the breakdown, the Cowboys like him better than Denzel Mims. And the Cowboys played against him when we played the Broncos last time. And when we played the Broncos last, they beat us, if you remember, with Kellen Moore there in that horrible game. But Seth Williams did just kind of hurt us in that game. He had a touchdown catch. So the Cowboys know what he can do. They watched a video for years on him.
Honestly, when you said his stats, he kind of sounds like a tight end.
Yeah, I mean 6'3". That's a tall receiver, right? But he's 230, so he's almost a small tight end.
Yeah.
But again, for a receiver, he hurt us. We remember that against the Broncos. He's now on the Cowboys, and again, he's like the third biggest name on that list. I think Pettis was second, and I think Denzel Mims was definitely the first. But name won't carry you so far. Cowboys like with this guy, the size he has. But remember, this is just a practice squad signing. Remember that, guys. So when you go ahead.
No, just Scorpio's asking. So why are we not using Ryan Flournoy then as well?
Well, as far as a receiver,
is he hurt? Is he injured? Is something going on? Honestly, I just think that he is.
Well, he's on our 53. He's again. You gotta remember, he is on our 53-man roster. He wasn't a guy that needed to be elevated. Ryan Flournoy. He's just, think of him as just like a red shirt year for him, almost in a way. I hate saying it. I know people just want to see Flournoy out in the field, but just think of it in your mind. It's kind of a red shirt learning year for him, and he may get some snaps with guys. Ryan Flournoy is going to get most of his snap percentages on special teams. That's it. It's not going to be an offense. It's just not going to happen. And as we get more guys back, when Brandon Cook come back in a couple weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, and we have these other receivers like Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert, which we'll talk about in a minute. Turpin, who had a great game. You're not going to have many snaps for Ryan Flournoy except on special teams. So that's what you're seeing with him. When you look at Seth Williams, he's a practice squatter, not going to be playing with the Cowboys as on the 53-man roster as of this moment. But you can see him as being a guy the Cowboys may elevate to the 53-man roster if there's a true need at receiver. But I don't know if that's going to be the point. He's more like break glass in case of emergency. And that would be an emergency, trust me. So right now we got Seth Williams and Villian, edge rusher, on our practice squad, not on our 53-man roster. How did this happen, you may ask? Because again, how do we get signing two practice squad guys and we have Carl Lawson on our 53? One of the reasons is because we have Carl Lawson on our 53. So now I'm going to go over what happened to Marshawn Nealon. Marshawn Nealon was moved to the IR, injured reserve, for at least 4 weeks. I'll explain what happened to him. But Nealon is on IR, so there's an opening on the 53-man roster. Carl Lawson, then he ends up getting elevated from the 53-man roster, and he goes to that open spot that we just lost Marshawn Nealon for 4 weeks for. Okay. Carl Lawson, it goes up there. Now there's an opening there. Now remember, we moved up Nick Vigil on the 53-man roster as well. That left a practice squad opening, a practice squad open spot, and then moving Carl Lawson is a second open spot. We had two open spots. So you got your receiver, the big 6'3", 230 receiver Seth Williams, and then you got your defensive edge rusher, Luigi Villian. So that's how you got the movements done on our roster. So let's kind of focus on the injuries real quick before we get to the game and what Jerry Jones might have said on things regarding the game and others. But Marshawn Nealon, we thought he was out for the year with the knee tear, guys, with the ACL knee tear. He avoided the ACL knee tear, which is huge, obviously. But But again, even though he avoided the ACL tear, he does have a meniscus tear. But still expected to be back this year.
Yeah.
So that's great news there.
We already saw he got put on IR. The expectation with the meniscus tear is about a 4 to 6 week recovery time. I believe he already had his procedure, if I'm not mistaken, to repair the tear.
Yeah.
So
it's already started. The mend. He's back on the mend. 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks, no Marshawn Nealon. So that's injury reserve is 4 weeks. It makes sense. You open up that window, you can get another week or two, and then he's back after 4, 5, or 6 weeks.
And remember, with the bye week, at least that's...
He misses one less game. But whatever, if he misses 5 weeks, he only misses 4 games. So that's the good news there, I guess. Big good news for the young second-round draft pick from this year. He's not out for the year. There's no ACL injury, meniscus tear, going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Positive development for the Cowboys. The exact timeline still is not 100% certain. 4 to 6 weeks is the estimate. Von Miller suffered the same exact injury when he was with the Bills in 2022, but he sustained it late in November, which was late in the season, and he never returned.
I mean, it makes sense because, again, by the time that 6-week mark hits, the regular season is basically over by then. I don't know what the postseason looked like for
the
Broncos, Bills, Von Miller. Sorry, I couldn't remember exactly where he was.
Well, that was when he was with the Bills at that year, yeah. But, either way, it was just not... Who knows if they made the playoffs that year? I'm just saying, who knows? But the thing is, we're going to hear from McCarthy, I know, and Jerry Jones, but basically what they said, is what Nealon himself said on social media. He made a post, he said, quote, "I'll be back soon," end quote. So 4 to 6 weeks for Nealon. He's on IR, and that's much better than what it could have been. He would have been out for the year, was the initial thought from our side. So any quick thoughts on Marshawn Nealon? I'm going to move to the injury. I'm trying to slide through it quick.
Honestly, a positive.
Yeah, very positive.
I had counted him out for the season. Yeah. The fact that we actually will see him out there, even if it's just from a personal development standpoint, it'll be good for him to continue to get the reps and the snaps. And
now, in his head, he knows that he's not out for the year. So now, not just studying or having mental reps, but now he knows he's going to put them to test this year. Not just, that's going to be for next year, and he's going to be more down. It really keeps the head up of someone who thought maybe he would have been out for the year. Great news for Marshawn Nealon, the second-round pick for this year for the Cowboys. Now, what about our first-round pick? Number 60, offensive tackle Tyler Guyton. He got injured, was not playing very well as well. He played horrible, in my opinion. Tyler Smith looked a lot better than he did as a left tackle. And TJ Bass said, all right, at left guard. We'll see how that plays out this week. But Tyler Guyton, guys, according to Jerry Jones, he's very optimistic that Tyler Guyton's going to play. Now, what happened? A knee injury. He suffered a knee injury on Sunday night against Pittsburgh. Cowboys officials, they said this literally the next day, Monday. They don't believe when he walked off the field, he had an ice pack on his leg. He was limping a little bit. But the Cowboys do not believe that Tyler Guyton's left knee injury is considered serious. He didn't play in the second half. His knee was wrapped as he left the game. And then on 105 through the fan, Jerry Jones expressed confidence that Guyton will be ready to play against the Lions this Sunday in Dallas. He said, quote, "He's got a good chance to play against Detroit." That's per Jerry Jones.
I wonder what his actual injury is. I know they're just saying, left knee injury. They're not really getting into the details, sounds like
sprain of some sort. Probably a sprain.
It's hard to tell just because we didn't see exactly what happened when he got hurt, right?
Yeah,
because that's what I'm saying. We knew he got hurt, but we didn't really see that play.
Actually, when you saw him get hurt once, and then he got back up slow, and then he got hurt a second time, 5 plays later.
Man, I don't want to misspeak, but I'm almost positive that he got rolled in an earlier series in the game, and then something else, he took another hit, and then that was the thing that got him out.
It was the same.
He was already hurt.
Yeah, it looked like it was the same kind of possible injury that happened earlier in the game, but. Either way, the thing is...
I guess Jerry's a doctor, too.
I know.
Scorpio, so.
Basically, he's saying he's got a good chance to play. But, again, this knee injury happened in this win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, like I said, we shuffled Tyler Smith over there. And TJ Bass went to left guard. And Tyler Smith went to left tackle. And locked it down really a lot better, I think, than Guyton did.
Bring up a good point. Unfortunately, our O-line did look better. Once he went down, we scored right after.
And I want to make another... And the offensive line really looked better with Tyler Smith at left tackle. But I'll say this. We have again. I'm jumping. This is like those little sprinkles of Detroit you're getting here, guys, for this Detroit game. And we're going to be bringing up the Detroit Lions on Friday and more details of how to beat them. But one of the key matchups is going to be wherever the fuck NFL sack leader NFL sack leader, defensive edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson. Where the hell is he lined up? I think he's number 97, isn't he? Wherever he's at, he's going to wreak havoc. Terrence Steele, Tyler Guyton, that's going to be an issue. If Tyler Guyton plays this week against the Lions, and he's already gimpy and limpy and not 100%, he's going up against Hutchinson a lot of the times. Now, I know he's going to go up against Steele a lot as well, but they might rotate some more plays for Hutchinson to go up against a gimpy rookie in Tyler Guyton. I would almost say give the young man through the bye and let him come back against the Niners if you feel good.
Seabass is throwing out there. Tyler Guyton still needs to start because it's imperative to his development when it comes to fruition. It's much needed for this team. He needs to get through those growing pains.
That's a fantastic point. And when he's on here, I cannot wait to hear more about that thought of the Tyler Guyton, the offensive line situation, more than Tyler Guyton. But that's a great point you make, developmental-wise for him. It is good to him to play on the left tackle as much as possible. But you also want to run him in there not 100% and going up against Aiden Hutchinson, a sack leader right now, the NFL sack leader. So it's kind of a tough one.
I'm not surprised that Tyler Smith did look better at the left tackle spot. I know it's kind of easy to forget, but he is a veteran.
Yeah,
he has the experience. You know what I mean?
He's played out there 1 year. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like, he obviously has already surpassed those types of growing pains and things like that. He probably knows a lot of the language and the rhythms and stuff. So I'm not throwing Tyler Guyton out with the bathwater or anything. Just saying, I'm not surprised that he looked.
I want to make sure that we say. I want to make sure. I want to clarify for us, for you, and for me. Though, at least when I say he did better, and I'm sure you mean it the same way. When I say Tyler Smith did better than Tyler Guyton, I'm saying at tackle.
Of course.
I'm saying that Tyler Smith at guard did great as well. I mean, he was dominant at guard, Tyler Smith. But the weakness of Guyton making a kind of the weak link on the offensive line there, when you move Tyler Smith there, it changed that weak link to Bass, but he has help. And then you got Terrence Steele now has to worry about dealing with the tougher matchup, I guess.
And credit where credit's due. You guys are saying it in the chat too. TJ Bass held his own.
He did not but he had a couple mistakes as penalty, but I can't blame these guys. I said this earlier.
Heck, our starters were committing penalties. They're not going to get it.
I know, but my starters committing penalties, I get pissed about. But when it comes to TJ Bass, an undrafted second-year guy, I just don't get that upset with him making a mistake. But you got to point it out. That's going to happen more with guys that are undrafted or guys that are young. So
hopefully the Cowboys can figure out whatever it is that helped the O-line flow a little better after Guyton left, and translate
I'll tell you what
some of that.
It was Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith upgrading, not the fact that he's better at guard or tackle, the fact that he upgraded the tackle spot so much. That was one of the keys in us doing better on offense and better pass protection as a whole when that happens. So Guyton, I'd rather just give him to the Niner game and me personally. But according to Jerry Jones, he's ready to go out there and play possibly this week. Cowboys shuffled the line, whatever. Listen, Cowboys want to have all players on deck here for this game against the Lions. But if anybody misses a time here, I don't mind if Guyton misses a little bit. TJ Bass plays at left guard, and Tyler Smith plays one more week at left tackle, so he can go up against Hutchinson. And Steele's on the other side. And Steele will have to play Hutchinson on the other side. It gives Hutchinson a lot more difficulty than going up against a gimpy, hurt Guyton. And if he's not, unless Guyton's 100%, then throw him in there. Let's go. Now, I will move on, or we'll be here forever. We'll never get our guy in here.
Calvin Richards, here you go, man. Because I know this. I'm just saying, we're all excited, and I know the first thing I did was perk up when I heard, wait, what? Land? So Jerry Jones did have a positive update on the plan.
I mean, and it's not just from it's from a couple different people and locations, but I mean he helped add to that for sure. Deron Bland, guys, what's the update on him? He's been out since his injury in training camp. He missed the first 5 games in the season with that stress fracture in his foot. So cornerback Deron Bland now, according to many sources and Jerry Jones himself, has a chance to play and make his 2024 season debut on Sunday at home against the Detroit Lions. Quite possibly may happen. Now, Stephen Jones, not Jerry, Stephen Jones said that Bland could have, at the very least, a limited role when the Cowboys play the Lions in this Sunday. So, at the very least, Stephen Jones said he'll have a limited role. Interesting. So, this is what Stephen Jones said about Deron Bland. Quote, I think Deron Bland has a real chance. I don't know if he'll play the whole game, but I think he's ready to start mixing it up. Short of a real setback, Deron should be ready to dress and help us on the defensive side of the ball and in the secondary. So that's great fucking news if he's out there and he's ready to go.
Even Bland on a limited rotational basis.
Helps us so much.
That is huge, especially, let's be real, against the Lions team that will absolutely be a tougher matchup that we could use Deron Bland for.
Yeah, and again, the Steelers, Pickens, we'll talk about that in a minute, but there's nothing compared to what the Lions have. And Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and tight end Sam Laporta, these guys are going to be, passing a lot and attacking a lot. So the Cowboys have to be ready with a lot of good coverage guys. Bland would help us even in a 10, 12, 15% snap amount, snap roll there for him. So we'll see what happens. But in his absence, the Cowboys have started 3 different cornerbacks in the last 5 games. And the rookie Kalen Carson was the starter, number 21, got hurt. He started the first 3 games, got that shoulder injury. We'll see if he's back for this game. We'll need him as well. He missed the last 2 weeks. Andrew Booth was the starter, was demoted at halftime of the next game. And then Amani Oruwari then came in there and played very well last week. This past week played well, starting on the opposite side of Trayvon Diggs. This is a practice squatter who, again, stays in the practice squad. I wonder if the Cowboys going to bring him up here eventually. But either way, right now, a lot of it probably depends on Deron Bland. So Oruwari, definitely, if I'm another team, I need a corner, I take him off, I pluck him off our roster. But Oruwari is still a practice squad guy, while Deron Bland is, he's going to, I would say Andrew Booth probably gets released, if anything, and to get Oruwari up on our 53-man roster. But we also have to remember, Deron Bland we have to make a roster move once Deron Bland comes on our 53. So somebody else has to get cut as well. So we'll see what happens, how this breaks down. But even if Deron Bland does play, even if it's kind of rushed a little bit, as long as he's able to get on the field and give us a good 15 snaps or so, that'd be fantastic. 10 snaps, that'd be great. It'll be very helpful, especially on those third downs, those big downs that we need to stop. And you bring in a Deron Bland for a play like that, and he's ready to go, and he's fully healthy to go. As far as 10, 12 play, we should use him, and that'd be nice. That'd be really, really an upgrade for this defense in the coverage side, which we did very well against Justin Fields, I got to say. But what about other upgrades? What about other guys like Micah Parsons? What's the update on him? According to Jerry Jones, Micah Parsons, with that hurt ankle, that rolled ankle, is, quote, close to returning. Remember, he had a high ankle sprain. But according to Jerry Jones, he said, quote, Micah's iffy for this game on Sunday against the Lions.
I feel like him more so than... Oh, man. Who was it that you mentioned earlier? Had a good chance of playing. No, I saw it was somebody else. So, damn it. No, because all I have is Bland in my head right now. But it sounds like Micah is
Guyton?
On the, I think it was Guyton. Yeah, because you're the one who said,
Jerry
if he's
Jones
on the bubble,
ready,
maybe don't play him. I feel like what applies to Guyton applies to Micah here, although obviously Micah's injury sounds like it's a little bit worse, quote unquote. But, yeah, why force it with Micah? As much as I'd love to see him out there, it sounds like another week plus the bye week would do his body good, and then we can have him back full force for that Niners game.
Yep.
So
that seems to be the way it's going to go.
If I'm fronting things here, I wouldn't push Micah to return if he's not in a place where he can. I
100% agree, and Micah's going to say he's going to be able to go, but
of course,
again,
he's never technically missed any football time, even in his college and high school days. So this is the first time he's had to sit on the sidelines doing it.
And again, close according to Jerry Jones, getting back on the field, but iffy for this game against the Lions. That tells me it's bye week, and then it's the Niners, and he'll be back for the Niner game. Now. Just going back to Deron Bland, we heard, there's a good chance he's going to... Stephen Jones said that. What did Jerry Jones say? Jerry Jones said Deron Bland, quote, I don't think he'll get there this week, but he's on schedule.
Okay.
So Stephen Jones says, good chance to get some plays in defense and help the defense. And then Jerry Jones says, I'm sure he'll get... he's not going to get there this week, but he's on schedule. So to me, it sounds like the 21-day window is going to open this week. But that's it. That means that no moves will be made. Okay. Oruwari gets moved up again, elevated, and Kalen Carson hopefully is ready to go on that field. So, if anything, when we bring Bland back, we want to move a guy up from the practice squad. The guy cut is Andrew Booth.
Yeah, I feel like at most, if they really are going to force it so that Micah comes back.
You mean, I meant Micah, but Deron Bland we were talking about.
Wait, how'd we go back to Bland?
We were talking about Bland, Jerry Jones' comment. It was that fact he doesn't feel that he's on schedule.
Okay.
Well, Stephen Jones said that he was on schedule. Like, basically, he's going to play. Some. That's why I'm trying to say, people, we jump in the gun a little bit, but Stephen Jones said that we're going to see some Deron Bland out there. But Jerry Jones said, I don't think he's going to get there this week. That's a quote. But he's on schedule. On schedule to not play, on schedule with his injury to come back within that 4 to 6 week time frame. So,
Look, Jerry, Steven, if you guys are going to be out here saying your BS on 105 through the fan, at least get your story straight
Exactly.
first.
And that's why I will not get too confident. That's why I know everyone's like, let's see what happens, but I'm not going to count on it and draw on Bland. There's two reasons for this. Number one, I don't think he's 100%. You can tell by just the way the front office is speaking. They don't know if he's ready to go. One says he is, the other guy says he's not. And I know that Stephen Jones said he is to a very limited way, but that's a lot when Stephen Jones said not yet. I mean, Jerry Jones says, oh no, not yet, not this week. And Stephen Jones said, oh yeah, he'll be out there helping the defense, even if it's a little bit. That's a big deal there. So to me, it means that this is my prediction. Knowing this team, the way they fuck up and it's a clown show, my prediction is you'll see Bland put on a 21-day window probably tomorrow or something, or this week for practice. Means he can practice with the team now. It means he has 21 days to be elevated to the 53-man roster, which means the Cowboys can do that during the bye week. And we keep doing what we're doing. And we just hopefully have Kalen Carson, who should be good. He was close last week. He should be good to go now. One more week. And Oruwariye, number 27, gets elevated, his last elevation. And we'll deal with that situation in the bye week. Do we keep this other guy up there and release Booth and then find another guy to release to move Bland in there from the 21-day window? That's my kind of prediction on that with the way the Joneses are showing this thing. So, and then when it comes to Tyler Guyton, Jerry Jones said, quote, he's got a good chance to play against Detroit. So all these guys, it sounds like Guyton's getting pushed to play almost. He's going to play. I'm not really a big fan of that, like I said, but we'll have to wait and see on that day-to-day. It's day-to-day on that knee for Guyton. Stephen Jones said Guyton he is day-to-day, and he said, again, it's almost like they're getting two different things, right? You're getting one guy saying, good chance to play in Jerry Jones when it comes to Tyler Guyton. Stephen Jones says he's day-to-day, which still could be, it means he plays, but it's two different kind of explanations. Then you got, Bland that Jerry Jones is like, yeah, he's on schedule, but he's not going to make it this week. And then you got Stephen Jones saying he'll be in the defense helping out with a little bit there. I mean, that's a lot of offs by both these guys. So a lot of things off. I think Marshawn Nealon's knee issue, which we talked about earlier, Stephen Jones said, quote, we got our fingers crossed, but he said we got our fingers crossed that he's not out for the rest of the season. So we know he's 4 to 6 weeks, but it's more of this was a worry before the announcement of the 4 to 6 week situation. So the fingers crossed worked on that one there, Stephen Jones. Anyways, I don't know if you have anything to kind of add to this when it comes to the Joneses or the players. But I know I'm going to start hitting up on this actual game. So as far as the game itself, what do you have to say? The game itself, when it comes from the Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, or anything like that. What did Jerry say after the game? I guess.
I guess. How about this? Let's save it for when Mr. Seabass is on, just because it has to do more with the team in general, not anything specific to this past game.
Okay.
And I know we'd like to maybe close the chapter on the Steelers first. And I do want to hear what Mr. Seabass has to say about some of the things that Jerry has said. So, let's go ahead and get to some of that Steelers stuff so we can bring Mr. Seabass on here.
All right. So let's roll through it. I don't know if you want to do the quotes first or not. But the thing is that, again, through...
As I said, I want Mr. Seabass's opinion on some of the things that, outside of the injury updates and stuff that our front office has said.
Well, yeah,
rebuild anyone?
Yeah, soft rebuild anyone? Well, what happened?
I like my rebuilds hard. Oh, sorry. Had to throw that joke out there.
Oh, no, I had to fix it. Maybe something went down here for some unknown reason.
I mean, it looks good still on my side.
I know. It looks like it's weird. It went down for a moment, but I think we're back.
Internet. Hurricane hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, the hurricane is not here yet. Come on. Cut us a break. Damn. So...
I guess let me remind everyone here is Mr. MCF fixes things behind the scenes. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You guys can, again, follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily. Don't forget to hop in the Discord as well. Link is in the description box down below.
That's right. So, real quick, let's run through this Steeler game real quick. And a couple points I wanted to bring up going forward to the Lions and to what you're going to speak on, baby, and what, of course, Seabass is going to speak on here. But this is before the Monday night game. The Cowboys this past week ranked 10th in shifting and motion rate in Week 5. This is something we've been talking about for weeks, really years, on My Cowboys Family. We need more motion. We need more snapping the ball while we're in motion. Cowboys were 10th best this past week. And look how much, again, even playing as horrible as we played, we still won the game. Without the shifts, could have cost us the game. I'm not even joking. That literally could make the difference. I think we did it, 64.5% of the time, which, again, includes plays that were also nullified by a penalty. It just shows that we did it a lot. Dak Prescott, in this offense, the first player in NFL history to throw both a touchdown on 2 different days in the same game and an interception on 2 different days in the same game. First 3 quarters, it was still Sunday night. And he threw a touchdown in those first 3 quarters, and he threw an interception in those first 3 quarters. In the last quarter, the fourth quarter, it was already past midnight. It was already the following day, Monday morning now, officially. And he threw a touchdown on Monday morning, and he also threw an interception on Monday morning, which, by the way, has never been done in the NFL, in history, since 1920, since the beginning of the NFL, guys. First time that's ever been done. So pretty amazing there. Of course, that was because of the weather delay. Mm-hmm. We know what the reason is there. And Dak Prescott, of course, we know he's the highest paid player in the NFL, pulled the game out, even on a horrible game in the final minutes, against the Steeler defense that, again, has the highest payroll in the NFL on the field. So, again, we got the highest paid player against the highest paid defense. Highest paid player won. At least one out. So, again, Dak, even though he had to carry his team after his own mistakes.
Cowboys have a winning strategy, I guess.
I know. The Cowboys, had to put the game back in Dak's hand. A lot of that was in Dak's fault on his own. That was his own fault, but he overcame the 3 turnovers of his own. Without Brandon Cooks, losing Tyler Guyton, we were starters, of course. We had excellent work from Tyler Smith stepping into the left tackle as we know he would. Great job by T.J. Bass to hold it together, and a fantastic job by Tolbert to really do his thing there down the field. And also, of course, Rico Dowdle. I'll explain that in a minute. But let's just move down this list here to CeeDee Lamb and the offense, because the receiving side of things, the Cowboys receiving against the Steelers, Jalen Tolbert, guys, 10 targets, the most targeted guy on our team. Number 1, Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, quite the game.
7 catches out of those 10 targets, 87 yards, and that game-winning touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had 9 targets, 5 catches, 62 yards. I'll get into that. I'll get into CeeDee Lamb a little bit more. Jake Ferguson, 7 targets, 6 catches, 70 yards. A very good game for him. Again, 3 games in a row. Very good for Ferguson. Turpin, I think 2 out of 3 games, fantastic for him.
Love to see the increased usage out of Turpin.
The integration of Turpin is major there. There's Turpin. Turpin had 5 targets for 4 catches. Out of those 5 targets, 50 yards, that big one down the seam. And then you had tight end Brevin Spanford, 3 targets, 2 catches, 20 yards. Luke Schoonmaker, 2 targets, 1 catch, 8 yards. Rico Dowdle out the backfield, 2 targets, 2 catches. But one of those catches was a deep catch for a touchdown. He had a total of 27. He had both of his receptions. He caught 27 yards, a touchdown. Hunter Lipke, 1 target, 1 catch for 18 yards. Jalen Brooks, 1 target, 1 catch for 10. That was the only we were short by the first down. And Zeke had 1 target, was unable to. It was a bad pass from Dak. So when we spread the ball around pretty well, a lot of targets. But you see CeeDee Lamb, 9 targets. Tolbert, 10 targets. Ferguson, 7 targets. And guys like Kevontae Turpin getting 5 targets. Those are our main threats right there. And then out of the backfield with Rico Dowdle and Hunter Lipke. Yeah, they put up like 40 yards of receiving yards on 3 catches. So, in a touchdown involved there by Rico Dowdle. Great job by the receiving set of the team. I mean, whether it's receivers, tight end, or running backs. Great job there. And Rico Dowdle, I'm going to shout him out here in a minute. He's part of that receiving crew. But let me just go back to CeeDee Lamb for a minute. CeeDee Lamb, in the first and second half this year, after week 5, listen to this. In the first half, he has 21 catches, 353 yards, and 2 touchdowns. In the second half, in all 5 games combined, he has 4 catches, 25 yards, no touchdowns.
Ouch.
Yeah. They take him out of games in the second half, opposing defenses, opposing coaches, opposing players. So to me, it's very concerning to see this happening. But I think a lot of teams adjust to see how the Cowboys are going to use him. Slot, outside left, outside right, outside, motion.
And basically do everything they can to shut him down.
Yeah, and then they just bracket him or press him or whatever it is
I
him.
hate to be this person, but what the fuck is McCarthy doing then? Because it sounds like
no adjusting back.
That's it. It's just like we just let that happen.
Yeah, we're not.
Or week 5,
yeah,
week
that's
6
the thing.
now, and
is
we're still just like laying down and letting teams take CD out.
If we see this happen, by now the Cowboys should be knowing that this is going to happen. teams are going to continue to take him out in the second half. So that's on McCarthy. You're right. And to me, again, it's not on CeeDee Lamb. He can't do it if he's getting double teamed and bracketed deep and short. I mean, there's nothing you can really do. You just take him out of the game and letting other guys beat you, and Tolbert beat them. But what I'm trying to say is that there was a lot of double teams in this game against the Steelers, against CeeDee Lamb. A lot of bracketed coverage. They did not let Dak throw the ball to him. So teams are telling Dallas that Lamb will not be the guy that beats them. Well, we said, okay, Jalen Tolbert beats your ass then, and he did. So Jalen Tolbert did a great job there stepping up. And that's why I'm saying, that's why in my title it says stepping up. Because a lot of these guys had to step up. I'm talking about, you can go with TJ Bass. On offense, you can go with, of course, JT, Jalen Tolbert as a receiver.
What Mr. Seabass has to say
about
a particular opinion I have about our offense and how it did look better and why that might be.
Well, I'm going to say
in my opinion.
One last piece of the offense, and I think one of the reasons I think this offense got better is we used the running game and continuously using Rico as the bona fide starter, which we need to do. Listen to this. Rico Dowdle set a career high, 87 rushing yards. 87 rushing yards against the Steelers. Very good run defense. But we used them right. We used them enough. We kept using him. And their defense had weaknesses on the run game, and we used them properly to take advantage of those weaknesses. Dowdle also had a career-high 114 scrimmage yards, which means he caught a couple of passes. His previous high was a combined 100 yards from scrimmage against the Commanders in week 18 of last season. So just so you guys understand, still, you got to understand something about Rico. He's getting these numbers, and he's still only playing about 50% of the snaps. But the role he's playing is major now. It's not he's just coming in to pass protect. Yeah. He's not coming in as a decoy or as another just a running back we're going to play action to. He's actually coming in to run the damn ball. So now he's still getting half the snaps, not full snaps. He's not showing as the starter, but he's getting half the snaps or even less than half the snaps. But his role is way better and bigger. His share of the running back rushes, actual running the ball in the last 3 games. 3 games ago, he ran for 62% of the snaps compared to the other running backs. 61% last week, and this past game, 71%. They're upping his numbers. He's now taking 71% of the rushing yards of the snaps going to the running backs. That they're getting the ball, and not just to play action out of, to actually run the ball with. So that is major. Another thing, Rico Dowdle in this game played 38 snaps, and 22 of those snaps that he played in, of those 38, were running plays. He got 20 carries on those usages. Again, that's 91% usage on plays that he's in on a snap. When he's in a snap, again, that is fantastic. A fantastic percentage. That means you're getting usage out of the guy you're actually starting on that field and playing. So Rico Dowdle, this again, I think he has 54 carries on the year. 54 carries, 221 yards, averaging 4.1 yards per carry. You guys remember who our starter was last year? Tony Pollard. He's with the Tennessee Titans. Started looking off great. Rico has 54 carries. He has 61 carries, Tony Pollard. So what? 7 more carries? He has 246 yards. Only about 25 yards more. He's averaging 4 yards per carry. Like I said, Rico Dowdle is averaging 4.1 yards per carry. So we haven't lost a step. If you compare Tony Pollard's numbers now and Tony Pollard, and then you look at Rico Dowdle's numbers now, they are the same. And the only difference is Rico's a little bit better per carry because he's got a little bit less snaps for more yards.
Yeah.
So Rico is actually technically, he's technically a little bit better. But also we're paying him $1 million, and Tony Pollard's getting paid $10 million over there, $8 million, whatever he's getting paid in Tennessee. So big. And we've been saying, let's get Rico the ball as a starter more often. Keep it coming. We finally did it. And it's happening, and it's working, and it's helping this offense. Big shout out.
Richards, much love.
Big shout out. Calvin Richard in the house.
Dropping the love once more. He said with his $2 holler.
Which he breaks the tie with, by the way, for that second place. He's in second place all by himself. What did Calvin Richard say?
Don't forget that Rico is injury prone.
That is true. And he also fumbles a little. He could fumble. He fumbled on the goal line. I told you guys he fumbled last year. He kind of
look, half the team had fumbleitis this past week.
But that's what scares me. He's a little bit fumbleitis, and he does get injury prone. But
that's where Zeke is kind of his in
relief?
case of emergency break glass. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I made it kind of obvious. I mean, I did say that he's still getting like half or a little less than half of the snaps, so that actually bodes well for somebody who's injury prone. You're playing him half the time, but you're using him more efficiently.
We get the maximum usage out of him while also putting him in the least risk of injury.
Exactly.
So I also, sorry, Deuce Vaughn. I also think that not having Deuce Vaughn there and using Lipke as our third running back, fullback, I think that helps a lot too. Because when Vaughn is there, a lot of the handful of snaps that he could have taken, I mean, it's not like he can block.
Right? He's limited. His usage is limited. So, plus, the Cowboys don't even use him in space where he's best for someone like Deuce.
Exactly. So I think it just makes sense there.
Yeah. So thank you there, Calvin Richard. Appreciate you. And we appreciate you reminding us about Rico. He is injury prone. Yes. He had the hip issue, and he was out for like 2 years out of like his first 3. Yes. So we understand.
And stay tuned, guys. In just a minute or two here, we're going to be adding in Mr. Seabass here so we can join in on the discussion and start cutting it up with us Cowboy style. He's
going to drop his knowledge here on our Cowboys here in about 10 minutes or so, maybe a little more than a couple minutes. But we got to go to defense now. And on defense, we had a couple of different things I wanted to discuss on defense. First, I got to get Rico Dowdle off my screen. So give me a minute for that.
I mean, if you flip the number, 32, defense, boom.
So, it depends.
Actually, I don't even know who 32 is.
It could be an offensive player sometimes.
I know, that's why I said I'm like, wait.
But again, guys, listen, the biggest thing I want to speak about here, first and foremost, is our depleted defensive line. Stepped up. Again, important words, stepping up in this game against the Steelers. We needed a guy stepping up. Our defensive line stepped up with all the injuries we had there in this victory against the Steelers. Guys, we held Justin Fields and the Steelers, their entire offense, to 226 yards total. Kept them under 100 yards rushing. The first time any team has done that in all 5 games this year against the Steelers. They've always had somebody over 100 yards. Justin Fields or one of the running backs. The pass rush on our side was able to get 3 sacks in this game. We had only gotten 2 total sacks in the 3 prior games before this. And that's with DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. This game, we got 3 sacks in 1 game. So those sacks helped keep the Steelers out of the end zone the entire first half. Only allowed 1 field goal in the first half with our defense. We gave the offense some chance to make mistakes, I guess, but also work through those struggles, turnovers early on. And then the defensive line, a huge contributing factor in winning this game, even though they were depleted, and we were very depleted. According to PFF and the analytics, the defense as a whole had 14 total pressures, and there were 7 different players that had at least 1 pressure. Chauncey Golston had 4 pressures. Tyrus Wheat, one of the 91 of these unsung guys, he had 2. Osa had 2 inside. Carl Lawson had 2, and Joseph Linville, who's not really supposed to get pressures, he had a pressure as well. But they weren't the other 2 guys that were involved in this were linebackers. Eric Kendricks had 2 pressures, and DeMarvion Overshown had 1 pressure. So pass rush wise, we really did a great job there. And I'm going to explain more about the pass rush and the run game stopping, why I think we really did a great job, not just because of the players that were in there, but the scheme. But the ground game, how do we slow down their running game, which had a 100-yard rusher every week the entire year for the Steelers? Everyone seemed to join the same effort to stop that run. It was a focus. It was a focus of this defense and of Zimmer. The defense as a whole had 13 run stops, which means they did not do as well as they should do on that down and distance. And the out of the whole defense, it wasn't linebackers or safeties or corners. Out of those 13, 6 of them were involving a defensive line tackle. And that's a stop, I should say, which means they were stopping them at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, or short of their expected yards on that down. So a lot of this went to guys like Tyrus Reed, Marshawn Nealon, Oso Digizua, Golston, Lawson, and Linville Joseph. They all had 1 run stop each. So they're all involved in stopping the run. I'm talking about our defensive line, who is struggling right now with that.
It's like the very definition of teamwork there.
100%. The 2 highest graded defensive linemen were Linville Joseph and Chauncey Golston. That's big names to step up there, guys. In the first quarter, Linville Joseph rushed up the middle and sacked Justin Fields. Yeah. He forced that fumble on Justin Fields. We just couldn't recover it. That was Linville Joseph, a defensive nose tackle who's like 300 30 pounds. You know what I'm saying? He's not there to do that, but he was there, and he stepped up. Steelers did recover it. They ended up punting after that, because of that sack. And again, Linval Joseph ended the day with the highest defensive grade for the Cowboys. Chauncey Golston, number 99. Linval Joseph, I think, what is he? Number 98, I think he is. But Chauncey Golston had a great day, playing one of his best games today. And I always liked him as the outside player rather than the inside guy.
He's like 93.
Is he? Okay, you're right. He is 93. Thank you, baby. He's number 93. Linval Joseph is 93.
Took me a second. I almost want to call him 91, but I'm like, that's
that's tire sweet. Yes. Chauncey Golston, number 99, one of his best games, I think. I thought he needed to step up from the beginning. I said him and Marshawn Nealon are going to be the guys getting most of those reps. Nealon got hurt. More pressure for Chauncey Golston to step up. Carl Lawson to step up. Both these guys did that. Chauncey Golston did a great job on Sunday night stepping up and getting 4 pressures, leading the Cowboy team with pressures against the Steelers. And again, as a story cannot always be told just through statistics or analytics, but you can see the defensive line was doing better for the second week in a row. The Cowboy team, the defensive line and the linebackers did a great job plugging up holes, taking away running lanes, sometimes taking away more than one blocker in these running. And I'll explain, the Cowboy guy would just explode into 2 offensive linemen, or to basically make them not get to the second level. It would give linebackers easier roads for the tackles and making the play. So again, second week in a row, you're seeing this defense getting better at stopping the run, and a lot of this is because these big bodies like Linval Joseph that are in the middle there. And again, a group that does not always receive a lot of praise. They did stand out in this game in my eyes. The defensive line stopping the run, getting pressure on the quarterback. At the last 3 weeks, not doing much, even with our best players out on that field. So I hope that this defensive line and the way Zimmer's scheme works is going to continue to help us. You could also say that they didn't know where the blitz was coming anymore. Who was going to be our leader, because there was no Micah on that field. So now who's next, right? They didn't know where it was going to come from. But either way, as a whole, like you said, as a team, a great job at this defensive line. We got to stop the show for a second. We've got Calvin Richard with another $2 holler. And it's perfect timing, because who wears number 2? J. Lou. And we're going to talk about him in a minute.
Now, Calvin Richard's saying, did anybody notice that Clark didn't play a snap?
Damone Clark, no snaps in this game. Already getting phased out in a way here. And it's unfortunate because I remember he was one of your big guys and your pet cat, so to speak. And he just seems to be getting less time on that field. Something to keep watching for sure. You never know. He could be depth, but he also could be trade bait, possibly, for somebody who wants to give it a chance.
Depth or dead? Yeah.
And it's unfortunate to see that, because we always want to see our guys kind of get in there and succeed. I will touch on another player here, since he did drop that J. Lou $2 holler, Calvin Richard. Let's talk about him, because to me, he did have a fantastic game. Guys, Jordan Lewis was basically dragged down by the face mask at the end of that game, but he pissed off, got under the skin. Remember, he got pissed. He pissed off Amon-Ra St. Brown so much. Yes. And we play him this week. Mm-hmm. But this past week, he just pissed off and got under the skin of George Pickens of the Steelers. Guys, that's one of these side battles that nobody's really watching. You didn't really hear Jordan Lewis getting burned, getting beat. You didn't see him getting, he was just in the face of George Pickens the entire game. And pretty much, their best receiver, George Pickens, kind of embarrassed himself after his team lost on Sunday, living in his head and basically having Jordan Lewis living in his head rent-free the entire game. You can see him getting upset. He had 2 catches for 16 yards. It was a horrible game for him. So, and we know what a shit talker Jordan Lewis is. So Jordan Lewis, in the coverage of Zimmer's defense, had a great game, guys. Nothing really phases him. He's a baller. And again, a shit talker that obviously, I've said it before, he's a top 10 slot nickel cornerback. He might be a top 5. I don't know. He's getting better and better as things kind of panning out in this Zimmer defense. And then I'm going to end it as far as the defense is concerned before we turn it over to Mr. Seabass. I'm going to end it with maybe the biggest deal to me out there. Why did all these things work? Why were these guys able to step up, especially on defense? Excuse me. Coaching, guys. Mike Zimmer's scheme. They're learning it better, but he's also adjusting. You can see it. It was shocking that the Cowboy defense did the heavy lifting in this game, especially in the first half.
I agree. Not what I was expecting.
Not expecting that at all. Steelers had only 89 total yards and 3 points in the first half. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they did score 2 touchdowns in the second half, but overall, the defense did a fantastic job. They held Najee Harris, their leading rusher, the leading running back, I should say. They held him to 42 yards on 14 carries. That's nothing. That's horrible. And Justin Fields, their leading rusher, basically, he only had 27 rushing yards. Only 27 yards rushing. Held the Steelers to 3 of 12 on third down. And I'm going to come back to that. But that's Zimmer's scheme, keeping these guys on down and distance, third and long, and then stopping them. Also, a very promising showing from this group. In my opinion, it was a very promising showing by this defense with all these guys that we had missing. Blanket coverage, and mainly Jordan Lewis and other guys, Trayvon Diggs, against George Pickens. We held him to 3 catches for 26 yards. I forgot one of the catches. 3 catches, 26 yards. And we left him so frustrated that, like I said, the last play of the game, Jordan Lewis was slung by his face mask to the ground, and it was a flag against George Pickens. Almost a fight, but the ref stopped it from getting any worse. And that's because the Steelers were trying to throw the ball backwards and try to get some kind of miracle. And then the Cowboys eventually recovered it. Jordan Lewis recovered it, and then George Pickens threw him down after the play was long over by the face mask. So I'm just saying, like, the Cowboys really, with the Zimmer defense, got in the heads of this entire offense. Carl Lawson was very disruptive, got pressure on Fields. Fields looked very uncomfortable in the pocket against the Cowboy pass rush. I also think that the Marvian Overshown, guys, again, just continued to impress. He was everywhere. He was seeking out the ball carrier, stopping them with the first hit, not letting them break tackles. He had 8 tackles for Overshown. 7 of them were solo tackles, not assists. So a lot of contributors to single out. It was more of a team defensive game, and it's led by Mike Zimmer. And you know that I want to go back to the third downs. Third down efficiency for the Steelers. The Cowboys being without pass rushers, Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence, and then lost Marshawn Nealon in the first quarter, we still held them to 3 of 12 on third down. That is an ugly rate for the Steelers, for the offense, who have a dual-threat quarterback. They should be able to get these first downs a little easier with a dual-threat quarterback like Justin Fields. So a lot of the flowers also goes to Trayvon Diggs, Jordan Lewis, and even Oruwari and others that helped shut down George Pickens. The Cowboy defense has turned basically its second very good performance. Even though against the Giants we let them drive down the field on us too much, we didn't let them score a touchdown. So second good performance in a row to build on going forward against this Lions team. But there's one thing. There's one thing I cannot stand when it comes to this team, and I got to talk about the bad in here, and that's the penalties. They're not going away. And that's offense or defense. The Cowboys we're the best at committing penalties.
Last week, one of the most penalized teams.
Last week, the Cowboys were flagged 11 times for 89 yards. This week, we were flagged another 11 times for 87 yards. It's deja vu. And guys, again, Tyrus Wheat, Donovan Wilson, Brock Hoffman, who barely played, these guys were all flagged for personal foul penalties. So even though they might have some good games or played a snap, they were getting personal fouls against them fighting for no reason. It happens once in a while, but it's happening as a normality for the Cowboys. It's got to stop. So this is an ongoing issue. The Cowboys have a discipline problem, and I think it goes back to the coaching staff. It's sickening to me to see the penalties just the undisciplined Cowboys.
I mean, you just pointed out clearly we're capable of adjustments.
Yeah, but not on that, it seems. Not on that. Now, the last thing I'm going to say, baby, and I want your 2 cents on this, before I kind of give you a quick little, I guess we'll do a Detroit quickie here. But here's the thing. John Fossil spoke, and he kind of confirmed what I know you want to know the answer to this. He confirmed what was the issue with that block?
With that Brandon
Aubrey blocked kick field goal. So John Fossil said that it wasn't a protection breakdown in the blocked field goal. So it was not the fault of the offensive lineman. It was Brandon Aubrey's fault. He said that Brandon Aubrey just had a poor strike on the football. He wrapped his foot around the ball, and if it was not going to be blocked, it was likely going to be wide left. And again, baby, I think I even showed you that, right? I showed you the replay of that. I said, this was going to miss left anyways. So, yeah, it was a block, but it was also a bad kick by Brandon Aubrey. It was not an offensive lineman issue, no matter what they stood up and looked like. You know what I mean? So,
all right, well, good to know.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. That was one of the big questions I wanted to find out before we did our next live stream. And the last thing I want to say, maybe before I turn the reins over to, I guess, to Seabass and you, I guess I know you have some quotes, but I think you're going to do those during our discussion with Seabass. I wanted to say this as we heading to this preview of this. This is not even a preview. This is just the end of the. I put in there a little Aiden Hutchinson versus Guyton, or will it be Tyler Smith or Terrence Steele? That's obviously going to be one of those matchups to watch. But I want to just kind of finish on talking about Dak Prescott against the Lions real quick. Dak is 5-0, undefeated against the Detroit Lions. I know I'm not going to wood. I'd probably jinxed it. But he's completed 106 passes out of 156 passes. 67.9% completion percentage for 1,463 yards and 11 touchdown passes. Those 11 touchdown passes in 5 career games against Detroit is that is tied amongst the most any team in the NFC East. That and it's number 1 in the NFC East and tied in the NFC for the most touchdowns in that 5-game span. So throwing touchdowns for Dak against the Lions seems to be a very good thing. The Cowboys defense, now flipping over the defensive side here, Cowboy defense has only allowed let me rephrase this. The Cowboys are 2 of 20 when it comes to a deep pass thrown against the Cowboy defense that are completed against them. Only 2 completions out of 20 deep passes. In total, there are 109 yards and 1 touchdown against the Cowboy defense on deep passes, although they did not have an interception as well. And we dropped like 3 interceptions on those deep passes. So the Cowboys are also tied with 5 other defenses for the fewest amount of completions allowed on deep passes so far after 5 weeks. And just want to throw this all over to you guys when it comes to deep passing. And a team like the Lions, Jared Goff in this game against the Lions coming up. Obviously, our defense is very good at locking down those deep passes, not letting us be beat on those. I think only the Saints really killed us. One of the 2 20-yard plus passes that hurt us. But Jared Goff has attempted a deep pass, which has to be 20 yards or more, only 5.6 of his total attempts this year. That's the 3rd lowest rate in the NFL. So what I'm trying to say is Jared Goff does not throw the ball deep very often. And we would, if he did, we'd try to shut that shit down really easy. So it makes the game a little bit easier for us to kind of focus on what's in front of us, not to worry as much of the deep passing.
If we're taking away an aspect of their game plan,
or even the game ability.
That, like you said, not that they necessarily use it a lot, but if we still just remove it as an option, obviously.
Yeah, and they help remove it.
That makes them more predictable.
They are helping remove it, right? So, because they're taking it out themselves. They don't even do it that often. So,
hey, teamwork is always nice.
I agree. So now that we got that out the way, baby, it is time for you to take over the show and let me know what we got to do. Because I don't know if Seabass has the number.
Yeah, Seabass, let us know if you have the number to call in. Mr. MCF is getting it set up here on our side so we can pick up your phone call. Yep. But go ahead, ring on in, and then we can start talking the rest of our Cowboy stuff. So, and yes, he is here. Okay, great. So we'll go ahead and await Mr. Seabass's ring. With that said, though, guys, quick little commercial break. Let me remind everyone to hit like. If you haven't already, subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell. And you guys can also follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily. And, of course, hop in the Discord. The link for that is in the description box down below.
Damn right. And as we wait for the man, Seabass, you see him back there.
We are ready for you whenever, Mr. Seabass. So go ahead and...
Did you want to start off any comments, though, about what you had or not yet?
I mean, I was kind of hoping he'd be...
Okay. Here. I mean, I don't know if you had anything that maybe he didn't have to... maybe he wouldn't comment about... He could comment about... We get a head start on that so he can kind of jump right into the mix of things.
I think I could... Oh, wait. Give me a second. I think he called the...
Oh, okay.
The wrong number. Let me see.
We'll get you the right number there, Seabass. Hold on.
So, real quick, why don't I go ahead and hit up the chat instead just because pretty much everything I have to say is going to be Cowboy relevant there. So, Tokyo said, the Lions have a double-headed monster in the running back room. If we can slow that down, I believe we can win.
It comes down to the scheme of Zimmer.
It's a good thing, Tokyo, that Zimmer decided to start stepping things up a bit, and that our D-line also stepped it up a bit there because our run stop is the one thing that this season so far we've managed to do okay-ish.
Well, no, we
Like,
had
outside of-
we were really bad, baby, in the beginning of the year.
But
Recently, I'd say
thank you for letting me finish my statement.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I want to make sure we don't say okay-ish, and it's not okay-ish. It hasn't been. It was a big issue until the last 2 weeks. We finally started slowing them down. Oh, we got our call. Let's see who it is. I think you hit the button there. That's.
I think you hit the button. Oh, so all good. Well,
hit up another question.
Why don't you call back?
Hit up another question, my love. I will let him, if he's ready, I'll...
Sure. Let me roll back a little bit here. Scorpio said, Mike's... There we go.
Call from
Seabass.
To accept, press 1.
Seabass.
Seabass in the house.
What's going on, family?
Hey, you can hear it. You hear us well?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. Well, do you want to hit that quick question real quick? Or you were kind of, or a comment? We're going right into Seabass because he's here center stage.
Yeah, we're gonna go right into Mr. Seabass. First of all, long time no see. How are you doing, man?
Man, the world is crazy right now. I'm glad to hear that you and your family are safe. I know you guys are going to be in a Category 5. Just please and thank you. It's a request, not an option. Keep us updated on Twitter.
Yes, we will. We will definitely do that, brother, and we'll do that on Twitter, and maybe do it on Discord as well.
Yeah, so. and I'll try to remind Mr. MCF to post a community comment here as well on YouTube.
Yep, we'll do that. Thank you, sir.
And how are you folks doing? How are you folks holding out?
We're ready. We're ready for this thing.
Hey, it's a lot easier to ride out a hurricane with a Cowboys win on our backs as well. Just throwing that out there. Yeah. That helps.
Oh, that's good stuff. You guys are holding strong. All right, that's good stuff. Well, let's jump right into it. I'm all ears. I'm all live.
Yeah, so last time we had you on here, I can't quite remember if it was right before the season started or shortly after the season started. But obviously, a few weeks into the season, lots of bumps, lots of bruises, and we're all kind of feeling some type of way. I actually wanted to start off with your points since we've talked so much about the run game and things like that. I want to start with the offense and some stuff they've got going on. We're already talking about the Dalvin Cook thing, but if you want to just generally give your thoughts on how you feel about that and just the rest of I'm just saying, let's kick it off with the offense. And I did kind of have Dalvin Cook in mind just because that was one of the comments I wanted to wait for you to be on here because Jerry Jones did comment on Dalvin Cook, and it was just as disappointing as we kind of...
But that was last week. We don't even know what's going to happen this week, right?
He said today on 105.3 The Fan, when he was asked again, hey, what about Dalvin Cook? He said, it's a long season. Judiciously managing snaps of veteran players is a big part of the whole show.
So he's saying he's not going to probably play Dalvin Cook for, who knows, maybe another month. Who knows? Managing snaps of veterans. Interesting. Your thoughts, Seabass?
I kind of alluded to it in the chat. I kind of feel, I get this sensation, I get this thought that Jerry is infatuated with Ezekiel Elliott. Prior to Ezekiel Elliott departing from this team to New England, he was infatuated with this man, and he had made several comments in post-game pressers and interviews mentioning, and I quote, specifically saying that he was the best player on the team. And he never made specific comments about Zeke ransacking him for money as opposed to making those comments about Dak Prescott and several other folks that he's had to pay. So I just feel that Dalvin Cook is kind of like, I say this with grace, with understanding from Cowboys fans' frustration, but I feel as if Dalvin Cook, he's on the practice squad. He's probably going to get picked up by somebody else. We're approaching the November 5th trade deadline. If we don't use him soon enough, and granted, I did mention there's something that the Cowboys know that we don't know regarding number 20, because either he's really bad or he's injured, or they know something that we don't know. Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense why he's not out there performing on that field. Now, I'll gravitate from that and I'll take you guys down the yellow brick road of memory lane. I thought this would be intriguing for you folks to kind of learn this, but Once upon a time, there was a Sebastian von Schaefer-Hill born in April 12, 1994. My mother, who I don't know who she is to this day, she placed a Tony Dorsett jersey on me. And Tony Dorsett, I want to allude to this Steelers game. Tony Dorsett, the great Tony Dorsett, number 33, he made a quote, and I'm going to quote him: "Tragedies make you realize how selfish you are." I want to use that quote and allude it to the Steelers game, because I saw a team that was down and out, down without multiple starters, as MCW just alluded to in her introduction there. I saw a team that was down and out. They were the underdog. They were the undercard. They were the expected to fault. And in that last drive, I saw that offensive line at the dismissal of Tyler Guyton. I saw that offensive line pull together. I saw that wide receiver set pull through. I saw that running back place that block. I saw that tight end place that block. Everybody did their assignment, and that drive was a very difficult drive up that field. And lo and behold, you know, somebody that I'll be the first to admit it, I had been bashing Jalen Tolbert all this season, you know, but lo and behold, it is Jalen Tolbert that came down with that rock. So, as I say,
he had sprained balls too.
And he had strained balls. Yes, as MCF just alluded to, he had strained balls the very next play. Usually folks that are injured or have some sort of tendency like that, they go out and seek services or aid. And somebody comes up and fills in the next guy in. That's not what took place. This man sucked it up. He had some water. And he said, you know what, I got ice in my veins. I'm going to go back out here. I'm going to put it all on the field.
I will add one thing. We actually would not be able to use him if it wasn't for the Steelers calling a timeout.
Exactly. I wanted to get to that next, but I wanted to add that as a prize piece, because he was actually not even supposed to be on that next play. So that's an added plus, and that should give. I don't know if the game ball should go to him, but that should give that young man confidence in his abilities. And you know, I know many famous Cowboys players watch your channel and several other new media Cowboys content creator influencer channels, and they use these channels and they get offended by these channels because we speak the real truths. We speak the hard facts. We're not going to sit here and sugarcoat. Excuse me, MCW. My mama said not to cuss in front of women. May I say a bad word?
Of course.
We say it all the time.
Mama, we're not going to sugarcoat shit over this way.
I agree.
So if you're not out there performing to your best of abilities and your assignments, and you're just being active instead of productive, well, then now we have qualms. But I digress. I'll let you guys take over.
Oh, sorry about that. There we go. But I think you bring up a great point, Seabass, as far as, you know, we've been down, we've been out, but we never really saw this team as a whole step up the way that they did on that last drive, right?
Yeah,
and it's so nice to see some of those, you know, not, you know, superstar, number one receiver, number one paid players and things like that actually get their moment, especially, yes, I've always said it, when I am not a fan of a player and the way that they're playing, I want them to prove me wrong. Right?
Exactly.
Like, it's not like you're sitting there saying Jalen Tolbert sucks and I want him to suck because I want to be right. No. Right. You're pointing it out because you want to see the change. Like, the Tolbert doing this is exactly the thing, this, you know, part of the progress that we needed to see on offense. And, you know I said this more post-game, but the fact that Dak as well, right? He had a shitty game.
Right.
Horrible game. Horrific game. But when it really mattered, right? That's it. The last drive, man, he was locked in, just like the rest of the team.
Laser focus. And you both have alluded to this in previous videos. Is Dak that guy? Can he do this? Can he perform at that level when it counts most? And that's his biggest criticism. You know, we can talk at a later date about postseason success. We can do that. But as far as I'm concerned, and I'll leave it at this, I swear I won't go off on a tangent here on Dak, because I've just been seeing, kind of as you alluded to there, MCW, that he had a horrific game. I see it a little bit differently. We always allude to those ugly wins.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Josh Allen compete at a quote-unquote high level, 9 out of 30 passes in his last game. But nobody wants to throw flack at that guy. I saw Joe Burrow just go 1-4, but nobody throws flack at that guy. So here's my point in saying all that. Dak looked ugly. Dak looked slow. He looked improper. He looked out of groove. But when it mattered most, that's a fourth quarter menace right there.
Yeah. And it's funny, too. I don't think I had the chance to read this stat. I could be getting a little wrong. But Dak has always been like the comeback kid. I think this was the first time that Dak won a game in the fourth quarter, like literally down at the last second. Usually we tend to do it either a little earlier or like into overtime.
Yeah.
So it was like something weird where it's like it just hit right at the perfect moment. So at this point, he's come back from every which possible scenario and in every capacity. So again, just shout out to the whole offense stepping up. I also, quick side note, since we are obviously still talking about the offense, let's bring it, down to the trenches when it comes to the O-line. Because I do think part of the reason that things looked a little better there towards the end, never want to see an injury, but Tyler Guyton getting hurt was a bit of a blessing in disguise, at least for this particular game, because Tyler Smith moving out to that left tackle and, TJ Bass coming in, they looked better overall. So hopefully whatever it is that worked there, we can kind of take a little bit of that. And as Tyler Guyton continues to develop and find his groove, hopefully we're in a good spot. But I feel like the offensive line struggling is also part of the reason why we've seen our offense struggle as much as it has, as much as we want to say, Rico Dowdle hasn't been used enough. Our offensive line was not doing any of our backs any favors, blocking as poorly as they were for a while. So, how are you feeling about the offensive line just in general, right? Like, we've gone through a lot of changes. We knew we were going into this season with a younger offensive line, but it's a very different thing to say that before week 1, and very differently as we're here in, like, week 5, 6, feeling it a little more.
Well, I'd like to bounce off that and say kind of what I was alluding to in the chat there, and I was getting at my man Scorpion there. If we look at all of Guyton's opposers that he's had to face through these weeks, you'd understand why a rookie, and I quote unquote, again, I'll say a rookie, is doing so faulty. I expected as much from this young man, but I see so much promise in his ceiling. I really do.
You think that we got a little spoiled? Because I think part of it, too, when Tyler Smith was drafted and he came into the building and he, obviously helped out there at left tackle, I think we got spoiled thinking that every single, Tyler at this point, right? Every single guy we're going to bring in for the O-line, they're all just going to be, baby Tyron Smiths. They're all going to look like Tyler Smith. So when Tyler Guyton goes in there and looks, like you said, like the rookie he very much is, it's like, why are we all shocked Pikachu face? Like, it sucks. Nobody wants to go through it. But that is where we're at.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't want to cut you off, MCF. I haven't heard you yet, so go ahead, man. So, oh, hell no. This is where I learned my facts. I only got y'all. Only people that speak real facts about Cowboys.
Hey.
Unbiased, unfiltered, unsaturated, not give a fuck about your feelings. Oh, I'm sorry, MCF. I'm sorry, MCW. Sorry.
I wish that facts cared about our feelings, right? Because then we would have maybe a few more rings.
What's up, Ramon and Emily Jones in the house? Let's go Cowboys.
I'm going to piggyback off that and say that if it's going to take a defensive tackle like someone, let's say, a Mozzie Smith in the world, to have 2 or 3 years to develop, and that's a big boy, and that's a hell of a position to play at the highest level. That's nothing to sneeze at, folks. Like, anybody sitting there giving Mozzie Smith grief, okay, well, you go ahead and you take his size 14s and see what you can work with. But as far as Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton, he probably got size 19s like Shaq. But that's a very pivotal position as well, because Dak can't function at the highest level of functionality if that O-line isn't clicking. And Guyton, as I said and I stated from the beginning, I was very, very high praise with him. And as you alluded to earlier, MCW, we spoke maybe 2 or 3 times after post-draft. And I was very ecstatic about his pick. I felt that he was going to be a promising guy, and I still feel that way to this day. I just feel that the young man needs to slow down. There was a player on the Cowboys that I think it was Parsons. Yeah, it was Parsons. He had mentioned that there are players out there trying to be Superman. I think that Guyton needs to slow down a little bit. And I think that we as fans need to get off his ass a little bit, because let's not be, we can't forget that Tyler Smith was the left tackle last year, and he was also heavily penalized. But look at what he's doing today, and he's rotational. So we need to give grace to Tyler Guyton. And then, as I said in my previous point, if you want to look at through the previous 4 or 5 games, Tyler Guyton has gone up against the best of the best. And he's going up against somebody else this coming Sunday. And that's Aiden Richardson. That dude is a dirty player. And I'll say that since the last game that I saw him that we played against them. That dude's a dirty player, but he's also a beast. He's a beast. That man is a beast. And he's going to bring it. He's going to come with it. So you got to be on your A game.
In general,
what?
That's one of the matchups that does obviously
Yes.
concern me in general.
But he's rotational, MCW. He's rotational. He'll be moving up against Steele and Guyton, because they're unlike other teams like the Steelers, where they keep TJ Watt foundational. They keep him in one spot.
Well, no. Which one would do worse?
I figured before
have a harder time.
I'm sorry, MCW. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was a question. I wonder which one's gonna end up doing worse.
I figured you would ask that question, because I was kind of going through the motions in my mind, certain things I wanted to talk about and kind of certain things that you guys were going off of. But I figured you would ask that question, and I do have an answer for that. I do feel that the veteran will do probably better.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I hope I'm allowed to curse here, but I fucking hope so, because it's kind of a sad day when if Tyler Guyton can go out there and beat you in that matchup in that regard, right? Because Terrence Steele is supposed to be the one who knows what he's doing, and no offense, he is playing right tackle, not left tackle, which I do think is a different beast in and of itself.
I agree.
So. But I do want to take a quick second here.
Longevity
Shout out.
factors in as well.
Yeah. We're going to discuss that in a minute.
I do want to shout out real quick. Ramon and Emily Jones, thank you for the $3 holler.
Yes.
Saying $3 holler for the 3-point win.
Yes.
Go MCF and MCW. Thank you so much, Ramon. Yeah, hey.
Thank you, guys.
Even a 1-point win is worth celebrating. But,
Yes.
I think Seabass said it earlier. An ugly win, still a win.
Yes.
So.
My prediction was 23-20. It was 20 to 17.
very
I
close.
was off by 3 on each. But either way, thank you, Ramon and Emily Jones. As Harley Dad drops to 53 points on the Stream Boss and Seabass. Yes, when I talk to you guys talk about the offensive line and the movement and stuff like this, and I do agree with Hutchinson. He is a guy that's going to be, kind of like what Micah is supposed to be this year, moving around the defensive line and kind of stress and press different parts of the offensive line. But Aiden Hutchinson will do that. He'll move on both sides, and he will pick. I just think they're gonna maybe have more matchups on purpose with Hutchinson versus Guyton if Guyton's going to play this game. And what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's going to be an extra strain on him. But in my opinion, if he's not at 100%, then it's a major risk. even with the development thing that you had brought up earlier in the chat, and earlier in the stream when we were doing the news, which is a great point that you made there, Seabass, about the development of him. All these tough guys he's going against, it's going to make him better in the future. But I have no problem with that. I have a problem with him being banged up and getting forced out there or pushed out there, and then he's going to look worse. It might even hurt his development, right? If he's
100%
injured. And so if he's injured, I say just give him to the bye week and let him go against a tough team like the Niners. They got Bosa. He'll have his trouble. He can get his test there, against the Niners and Bosa.
He can wreak havoc.
I'm sorry?
He can wreak havoc.
Exactly. So he'll have his test.
I agree with
He won't have it with Hutchinson. So he'll get it against Bosa when he's fully healthy. I want him back on that field when he's fully healthy. But I don't want him up there with, limping around a little bit against a guy like Hutchinson, who just is a dirty player. I'd rather not have him up there to defeat his confidence and set him back some, So that's just my 2 cents on that. That's why I just hope, even though they're saying he's going to play, I hope he does not play this week.
Well, okay, MCF, let me hit back at you real quick.
Hit me.
If you didn't have Guyton back there and he's on injury, who would you place back there?
Oh, no, I agree. Tyler Smith is the guy you want at left tackle.
I would have the exact same lineup that we just had now.
Yeah, I would have TJ Bass at left guard.
And just obviously hope
And
that
TJ
they
Bass
have
looked
some extra
phenomenal,
snaps.
by the way.
Yeah, he looked very good.
He looked phenomenal.
He had a couple mistakes that undrafted second-year guys going to have, but he looked very good for jumping in there and having to work.
He's a UDFA. It's to be expected.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't. That's more on Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones but again, he's in there and he's working and he's doing his thing. So I just think that Guyton, even though like the guy behind the backup to Guyton is Tyler Smith, and the backup to Tyler Smith is TJ Bass. So that's if you have that's the domino effect if Guyton's out. But if Guyton cannot play at 100% right now, then I do not want him against Hutchinson. I don't want him against anybody really, but I don't want him especially against a guy that's dirty. It's a sack leader right now. Let him get his test against Bosa in 2 weeks when he's 100%. Rather than get him out there and then maybe get him hurt, maybe get his confidence even lowered. I'd rather just wait an extra 2 weeks, and we got a bye week right around the corner. And we're going to look better with Tyler Smith right now at left tackle and TJ Bass at left guard for this game. One game, well, a second full game like this, they'll look better because now they get practice the whole week. They're practicing together like
Exactly.
this. The offensive line's going to look a lot better, and then when Guyton comes back 100%, it won't skip a beat, in my opinion, against the Niners. That's it. I will stop talking. This is your time to shine, Seabass.
No, wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said right there. Wholeheartedly. I couldn't fathom it going any other way. I really liked what I saw from what's his name? I just said his name. Mr. TJ Bass down there. I really liked what I saw from him, and a lot of fans have been calling, and a lot of sports media has actually mentioned the name, which is surprising, but they've mentioned the name that Tyler Smith at left tackle last season was very good. He was very, very proficient. And so if we want to get back to, and I'm not going to disguise, the Steelers win as like some sort of loss. That's a damn good win. But if we want to get back to winning football, you have to incorporate the formula that we used against Pittsburgh in the games going forward, because this is a gauntlet of games going forward. These aren't any less tougher teams that we're going up against. Whether we're playing them at home, which folks in the chat and folks Cowboys abroad, we are 0-2 at home. Last year we went on like an 8-game winning streak or something like that. So times are different, teams different.
Yeah, unfortunately that Green Bay game at the end of the last season ended that streak, and we have not found it since. So
Well, yeah, and in the regular season it was right off the top against the Saints. So yeah,
I just said we haven't found it since.
They've got a gauntlet. They've got a gauntlet coming up, and I know there's some teams in there scattered in there that maybe we fans or maybe sports media might overlook as competition compared to what the Dallas Cowboys can take, but there are some teams in there that pose a real threat to us, and this is a gauntlet of games that we've got coming up, and it's imperative that Mozzie Smith is on his, quote unquote, his stuff, and we get D-Law, Bland, and Parsons back, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the defensive side.
I feel like the biggest threat to the Cowboys is us, right? And How do you think about this, Seabass? Because offensively, I think we touched on pretty much everything offense. And I want to go ahead and start kind of making our way to the defense, just because this comment by Jerry, as great, no offense, baby, as great as our defensive line was as far as stepping it up in this game and Zimmer with the scheme and stuff, I have to be honest, I do think it was more of an exception and not the rule moving forward, especially because of all those injuries. But then Jerry, of course, when everyone's asking, hey, are we going to do anything to help the team? Right? He's over here trying to fight the comments about that whole soft rebuild. Remember, this was Jerry himself who said we were in a soft rebuild. He's trying to walk it back. So he's basically just saying what we knew, that we like our guys. We're going to lean on the youth of this team, saying the only positive of losing a player is a young player, usually your depth, is going to get some reps, a player that can get better for the future. No one's denying that. But when that is all of our depth, it can cause a problem. I mean, that's why we're all sitting here basically flabbergasted that our defensive line held up as well as they did.
Using a bunch of practice squad guys in coverage and other parts of the team.
And like you said, now, thankfully, Mozzie is, continuing in his development. He is looking better. We have other guys who were able to step it up. Again, shout out to Carl Lawson, Tyrus Wee, all of them. But
how long is that sustainable?
I am obviously not feeling confident about it in even a short or long term, because we still have a few weeks before we get back. Tank, Micah is still obviously in a week-to-week situation. So, I mean, how do you feel about not just the D-line, but just the lack of moves by Jerry to address what I feel like is the biggest problem?
Yeah.
Before we get to that, though, super quick, let me give the shout-out to Calvin Richards, who just dropped a $5 holler.
Yeah.
He's saying if we just cut the penalties in half, that's good for at least one win.
Easily. That's good for at least keeping a couple game winning drives alive. If we cut down a couple penalties a game. So
Thank you so much, Calvin Richards. Much love. But yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm sure there's going to be a game this season where we're going to look at it, and that 11th penalty, that's the one that cost us the game.
Yeah. Big shout out to Calvin Richard, by the way, dropping the knowledge in there. 48 points for Harley Dad. And Calvin Richard is second place on the board behind LC in first. So big shout out to Calvin. But yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, good. But yeah, hit us, Mr. Seabass. What are your thoughts on the defense, the D-line, and the lack of movement from Jerry as he walks back his soft rebuild?
Well, I'll say this. And I think the majority of Cowboy fans and Cowboy sports media, and including your folks and all of new media, feel this. Jerry, when he made these comments about all in, he walked that back. And then, now there's these comments that he made just recently in the past week, and now he's walking that back. I think Jerry's saying a whole lot of nothing while saying a lot, if that makes sense. I think we just have to take a page out of Dak Prescott's book and say that whatever this man says is just blowing smoke up our asses. Excuse me, MCW. But I tend to focus on, if we have to, when we're taught in high school, you have to cite your sources and put this there and all that, right? And there's a lot of what Jerry says, and then you have the head coach go on his pressers and he says something that's quite the opposite. And then you have, Stephen Jones that comes out and he says something completely different, not actually opposing Jerry, but he says something else. And so that's where I draw my line. If it's credible, Dr. Jerry, GM Jerry, CEO Jerry, the list goes on. He holds many titles. I find my credibility in what we can back. And that's kind of why I come to you folks for the unsaturated, non-bullshit, excuse me, MCW, unfiltered talk of the Cowboys. I think Jerry's just speaking a whole lot of nothing without saying much. That's just to answer your question. But to the second part of your question, the lack of moves by Jerry Jones. I mean, I don't really fault Jerry Jones in that manner because you have Baby Nuts who's running the contracts for people. You have a guy who's worked at McDonald's and Burger King as an account management, and he's running multi-million-dollar contracts for players who are, superseding his success even as the Cowboys, whatever he is. So I just, there was a time when Richard Sherman completely destroyed Skip Bayless on live, and he told him that he would never amount to the success that Richard Sherman has attained. Well, I see the same thing when you configure that thought to Stephen Jones and a real GM. Because Jerry, he's about his yacht. He's all in on his yacht. He's not about this team anymore. He's about Arkansas Razorbacks. Stephen is the one that's controlling the contracts. And if you look at Dan Quinn and what he's been able to do with that team over there, even though he stole half our team, he's been able to put something together over there. And he was able to sign linebackers that we weren't able to sign for some reason.
AKA Bobby Wagner.
Sign running backs. Other teams were able to sign running backs that we could have afforded.
Exactly.
So I don't really credit anything that these two clowns say. If it's going to, I'd much rather hear it from the inside players or, from a Cowboy sports media reporter or whatever, what have you. But the lack of moves is solely the finger points at the two people on your screen. It's I'm going to lose my way rather than win someone else's way, and that's why the Jimmy Jones of the world exists.
Yeah, definitely a big ego and control problem. Control because obviously you can tell that Jerry has to do things his way, but more the fact that he has to win his way. He wants that sense of ownership to be able to say, yeah, I did things my way and I won.
MCW, you are making a valid point. Can I piggyback off that really quick?
Of course.
Let's just shoot into the future of hypotheticals here. Let's shoot into 2025. Let's say that the Cowboys miss the playoffs.
Yep.
So a lot of folks are throwing around names like Bill Belichick as number one. A lot of folks are throwing around names like Nick Saban, which is retired. I don't get that one. But a lot of folks are throwing around names like Bobby Slowick or what's that Lion OC? What's his name? Ben Johnson. A lot of folks are throwing around those names for head coach. Do you actually, and this is a rhetorical question, do you actually think Jerry would hire a young coach who could take all the credit rather than Jerry or Steven taking the credit? No, I don't see that happening.
As long as they keep control, they would have done it with. They did it with Garrett. They would have done it with Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I think.
They don't hand the keys to anyone. They don't hand the keys to anyone.
Yep,
I agree. Yeah.
And so when you have that hypothetical, like I just explained it to you, you're stuck in what is that called? Like a stalemate?
Yeah.
For lack of better words, you're just there. You don't suck enough to get a top 5 pick, to make a drastic change on your team. You're not good enough to make the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. So your picks are always going to be dictated to you by the 12th through the 24th.
Yep.
It's not lower than that. So it's at what point does Jerry take in his mortality seriously and say, I've got to dial the reins back?
I mean,
maybe I could be $1 billion richer in 1 year if I just hand the keys over to a Bobby Slowick or a Ben Johnson.
The problem is that if you recall comments made by Jerry about a week or two ago, right? He basically straight up admitted he cares, and it's not like this was a secret, but he really just cares about the profitability and the brand of the Cowboys. Like he just wants asses and seats. He doesn't care who's paying for him. He does not care that this team has not had success. Basically, he just wants to keep us, again, he wants to keep us continuously in the run But to
And how
him,
do we feel
he
about
wins
that?
regardless. Like, he'd love a Super Bowl. He wants it. But
it's
every
not
year the
pressing.
Cowboys are ranked the biggest sports franchise. Every year that their
Money-wise,
valuation
yeah.
goes up. Every year
Forbes.
that, he increases those ticket prices and makes those hot dogs another $1 or $2. He wins. He's winning.
That's the only winning he really, really, really wants.
I said it, and I've said it time and time again. When you have a team that is close to 13, if not $14 billion, because Forbes hasn't updated their website yet as far as the Cowboys franchise. But when you have a team that is this valuable, when can you lose? You don't lose. Jerry does not lose. Even when the Cowboys lose a game, Jerry does not lose. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to MCW?
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yes.
Jerry wins
100%.
either way. I also, bringing it to the D-line side of things, who was that guy? It was, his name is Hankins. There we go. It took me a second there, but Hankins is having, like, the season of his life. This man is putting up
And that
stats and numbers, and
That
again,
hurts a lot.
not in a flashy way, but he is contributing. And we contributed absolutely jack shit by letting him walk. He wasn't asking for like 10, 12, $30 million or something. Like, we could have paid him an extra $1.5, $2 million dollars or something.
Extra. It was literally the same amount. He just would have taken 100,000 more. 100,000 more would have been fine. And we let him go for that.
That to me, those are the types of moves that are our clown show. Because if you sit there and tell me like, oh, you didn't want to spend all this money on Derrick Henry, I disagree, but at least I understand. But you're telling me that you couldn't find the extra nickel in your pocket to have Hankins on this D-line is a difference maker in a way that's like hard to wrap our head around. So I'm just saying, in the sense of like, imagine how much better some of these younger guys would look. Imagine how much we would feel with all these injuries if we still said, well, at least you still have Hankins on there too to help out. Like, it's just about the fact that
I think he would have helped out over like Jordan Phillips, because I think Linval Joseph's playing pretty well inside right now. Yeah.
So and I do really put more of the blame on our front office when it comes to the D-line side of things, because the corner side of things, even the Cowboys couldn't have anticipated that. And heading into the season, I thought we had pretty solid depth in the secondary. The injury bug just kind of came and beat us once more there. So on that one, I am giving the Cowboys a little bit of slack.
I feel as though, and I do agree with MCF that Linval Joseph is actually doing very well. I'm not real keen nor high on Jordan Phillips right now.
We give up a draft pick for him too. We switch draft picks. Like, at least Linval Joseph we signed him.
And that's what makes it even more. It's like throwing lime juice on a cut. I can't get past how underperforming he is. And we can say, and it's not to discredit what you said, MCW, we can say that we slightly give fault and blame to the players. I slightly give fault and blame to the players. But
execution still matters.
The main finger goes to these two on this screen. These guys had, you had Calais Campbell out there. You had, I could go on for,
much better options out there for the Cowboys to solidify the interior,
and still
let them all go.
And still for cheap.
They did nothing.
Cheaper, yeah, for sure. Yep.
Oh, so yeah, definitely not what we would have wanted to see there. So, a final little kind of comments here as far as the defense. A small little happy situation has been Kendricks.
Yeah,
just wanted to throw that out there.
And Overshown doing great there, and I think we get Deron Bland possibly, if not this week, definitely should be back with Micah for the Niner game. So going forward, what are you looking at, Seabass? When it comes to Bland and Micah, and eventually one day,
getting the game all back together.
Marshawn Nealon and DeMarcus Lawrence, and But how do you feel going forward with everything? This team, since we're on the defensive side, you can start with them. And also, I want you to throw in there what do you think about our special teams, specifically Brandon Aubrey.
No, I was saving the best for last.
Okay, all right. We'll wait for Brandon Aubrey then. But defense, offense going forward. What do you think? What's your thoughts?
I think it's a promising factor that the Cowboys are leaving no stone unturned, as far as the receiver position. I like that they were bringing in Pettis. I like that they were bringing in Seth. I like that they brought in Mims. I like that. That's really good that they're looking. And, just for the matter of circumstances, because if this is where the Jones put us, that's what we've got available to us. Well, we might as well just not leave any stone unturned. So I like that. But
Agree.
For defense, I saw something in that Steelers game. I really did. I saw something. I saw something different that, a select few of Cowboys fans can key in on. And that is, we were out 4 or 5 of those top guys. And these dudes held true. These dudes showed we're about it. You guys had a previous video that you put out where number 13 was talking about how he doesn't like those comments about grown men being called soft. Well, you go out there and you show the display that we saw against Pittsburgh, and you won't hear those comments. Exactly. And it's kind of like what FCW was alluding to earlier, and it was you perform your assignment, you're productive, not active, you're not going to be ridiculed on social media. But even furthermore than that, I saw something with this team, and they were down there 4 or 5 guys, and they all rallied together. And I saw it on the offensive line, too. The offensive line was down in the trenches. But I'm going to give this one to the defensive line. They all rallied together, and they held their own. And that's exactly what I wanted to see from Zimmer himself. That's somebody who we haven't talked about tonight. Zimmer actually showed me something tonight. Or rather, not tonight, but, Sunday night. He showed me that, even though you don't have the right available assets to plug and play in places, you're still going to move those guys around. And I like the fact that I can't remember his name right now. Specific player is no longer playing. I think that's more attribution to Zimmer saying, not directly saying he sucks, but he's kind of moving him off to the bench.
Jordan Phillips.
I was gonna say, wasn't it Jordan Phillips?
Jordan Phillips was moved from injury to with a wrist injury. He said he didn't even have.
There you go.
IR.
That's the guy that I was talking about. So I think that's more of Zimmer saying, "Hey man, we need you to get back to 100. You haven't been giving us your all, and we're gonna give somebody else a shot. And you just." you warm up that bench for us.
Yeah, usually the line when you break up is it's me, it's not you, it's me. This time Zimmer said, it's not me, it's you.
True.
I love that approach. I love that he's taking that approach. You got a guy who's on a 1-year contract. He's on a prove it kind of sort of year, and I know there's already talks of replacements for Mike McCarthy. So that's. You can feel objective or subjective towards the feeling that that is indicative of what the DC is going to become for 2025 as well. So either you use what you have available, the resources and the assets that you have available, or you look like certain other coordinators out there who don't know what the fuck they're doing. Excuse me, MCW.
Like I said, to save the best for last.
Uh-oh.
Because yes, who would I be if I didn't end things on a special teams note? Brandon Aubrey. Amazing. No notes. I know he had that, that unfortunate blocked.
That would have probably been a miss.
Kick there. But my point is that he is the most consistent part of our team. The Cowboys are lucky to have him. I hope to see him break the record. That's it. We were so down about this season. The best part was maybe, I'm just saying, those 2-3 games there where we were playing like absolute crap. The best part, the highlight, was Brandon Aubrey.
He's our MVP so far this year.
Yeah, and I honestly, genuinely believe that he will be a difference maker in probably several games this season and hopefully beyond that.
Kind of already has been just in the Giants games, just hitting all the field goals.
Yeah, I was going to say he's already. Yeah, he's been making some differences in games where our pedestrian offense hasn't done anything.
Even outside of that, just the new kind of special teams kickoff situation. Obviously, we haven't seen it as explosive. Teams are definitely, learning how to account for Turpin on our side of things. But I still fully believe Bones has something up his sleeve. But I'm just a fan overall of our special teams and what they've done. They've had a lot of big plays. Don't forget that, oh my God, against the Ravens, we did that little onside kick, right? Wasn't it the Ravens?
We got the onside kick.
So, yeah, I know we didn't win, but the point is the special teams itself has had a really good performance as a unit overall. And I just love to see that because, again, those types of depth players that, Jerry wants to talk about, guys stepping down, that's how we step up. Like, those types of things are the difference makers. Someone had asked why we hadn't seen more Ryan Flournoy, why we haven't seen, who is it? I think John Stevens Jr. or something like that. Like, why haven't we seen certain of these guys? Now, with Flournoy, obviously, he's just our sixth receiver. Like, he's having a rough time of it.
Rookie,
but the reason that we saw him even over John Stevens is because of special teams. So special teams
and injury too. But Stevens still kind of
Jerry already said that he could have played.
Yeah.
So that's straight from the big man himself. So special teams does matter. I look forward to seeing more explosive special teams plays in the future.
Yeah, I mean, Seabass I think concurs with you, Seabass, as far as Brandon Aubrey and the special team side of things.
I was just going to say that I agree wholeheartedly with everything that was just said and MCW had to share. This guy is the highest scoring player on our team. Most consistent scoring player on our team. Yeah, I feel, if you take it back just a few years ago, we did not have a kicker. We did not. We struggled. We can go through the names, Maher, Bailey, Zimmerline, I think his name. Zimmerline. I think I'm mispronouncing his name.
Greg Zerline.
But we went through a state where we didn't even have, a kicker. And so I always refer to Aubrey as the way cool Atlanta Falcons reference of the Dallas Cowboys. Because this man is a goddamn alien. I don't care if we think his kick was going to go far left, far right. It was blocked, but it was still never going to make it. I agree with you, MCF. But that guy, this man is a damn alien. He really is. You gotta have some cojones to sit back there and brace yourself while there's 350-pound plus dudes coming at you ready to take your block off.
Yeah, he's very composed.
Corners and all that coming after you downhill, ready to take your top off. That guy stands tall, 10 toes down, looks him face in the face, eye to eye, and says, "This is my 3 points."
And he's, again, I'm with the wife when it comes to like the record. It's just a matter of time to me, not if, but when he breaks that record. Because I mean, he's just so confident at this point. He's hitting the ball great 99% of the time. So it's a great feeling to have a consistently accurate, deadly kicker from distance of deep or short. We had Maher. He could kick him from 70, but he can't kick him from 30.
You forget how much leeway that gives your offense.
Yep. And
it covers up for a lot of those fuck-ups that we have seen.
Those broken drives that we fall apart in. But Maher saves us with points, and that gives us wins. That gives the Giants. We got to win because of that, because of the Giants. We
won by 3 points here.
I mean, I'm saying this is all Maher. This is Maher doing the extra stuff. I'm not Maher. I'm sorry. This is Aubrey taking the extra step forward.
You should have seen the look I just gave Mr. MCF.
This is basically Aubrey taking the next. This is Aubrey taking that next, he can hit it from anywhere. That's him picking up the slack from our offense, like you said, Seabass. A lackluster offense, leaving points on the board most of the time. Maher steals those points back for us.
Yeah.
So.
And oh my goodness,
I wanted to contribute more to that statement. I'm sorry, MCW. Go ahead.
I was just correcting him.
I said Aubrey.
And reminding him it is Aubrey, not Maher. We got to put some respect.
I wanted to add
Maher the nightmare.
that Turpin I want to see more of what Turpin was able to do just a few games ago, where he returned that back. I feel like because we're on this topic of special teams, I feel since John Fossil was the head honcho for this to become policy and regulation, I feel like this benefited Turpin the most of anybody in the league. And we saw that a couple games ago. We saw that in preseason where he was able to take 2 of those back a couple years ago. And I haven't seen him miss a step. I have, however, seen him underutilized or misused under this coaching staff. But as it pertains to special teams, I do expect and I demand more from Turpin because these rules and regulations are suitable to his craft. I digress.
Well, I will say, again, I think Turpin is not the problem here. I think it's that teams like the Saints, all they did was kick the ball directly to Wanye Thomas every single time.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I was so upset about that.
But that's not Turpin's fault. Like, Turpin can't do anything about that.
Yeah, that's smart scheme.
Absolutely.
The punt return, it was a punt return, not a kickoff return from Turpin. Remember that? It wasn't a kickoff return. So, but he's had some nice returns as well when he's given the opportunity. The teams just are rather kick the ball out of bounds to the back of the end zone and give us the ball in the 30 than let Turpin return it. Also, one of the main things Fossil wanted was to, when the ball goes out the back of the end zone, he wanted to make it go to the 40-yard line. And a lot of the people were against that because that's too many yards, and because he knew that means.
But I understand why he wanted that.
Of course,
I understand why Fossil wanted that.
And that's because when you can kick the ball out of bounds and just, from previous years, you're thinking 25, okay, just a 30, I'll do that rather than have Turpin return. He knows it's going to affect the Cowboys if he wasn't able to use Turpin.
It's going to affect that return.
Right, because now teams that have really good returners will never return the ball anymore because they would just rather give the ball on the 30 than take a risk on, you can stop them behind the 30, but the probability is someone like Turpin is going to take it to the 40 or beyond. So you'd rather just kick it out the end of the end zone. If you made the penalty of the 40-yard line, you'd be forced to kick the ball off to the best returners in the league. That's what Fossil wanted. The NFL said no. That could change in the future.
But
right now,
I was going to say, remember, first year, so I'm hoping that when they see the lack of excitement over teams attempting to run it back, like they're going to say, all right, let's find a happy balance here. Yeah. So
hopefully move it to the 40.
MCW, MCF, I wanted that. Those are such some, and I was waiting to get to special teams. I know you guys were using that as a nice gold nugget for the end, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you guys brought that up because I know that, like you just said, it's just the first year where they're implementing these policies and regulations, the new additions to the special teams effect. You give it one more year, they've already adapted one rule from the XFL, USFL, whatever you want to call them. They've already adapted one rule. Now, watch the excitement as they keep adapting more and more rules from those leagues, which I see them doing heavily. The NFL Players Association is heavily delved in the USSFL and the XFL. I think they're conjoined now. I might be mistaken, and in, NCAA. So I truly believe that Turpin, to get back to the initial point, I truly believe that I don't see how we get rid of Turpin, but if we were to keep Turpin following 2025, if there's a rule change to the regulation and policy of how returns and kicks are returned, Turpin is that number one dude in the entire league. And that's exactly why I can't remember specifically which team it was that schemed out Turpin and they were kicking it to Wanye. That's exactly why they did that.
The Saints,
because they saw him in the week prior return that back for damn near 100 yards.
Yep. That's the point.
Yeah, and even the ones that he didn't return all the way, like he was like a tackle away from doing so. It was close.
Yep.
And now, like you said, MCW earlier, now teams are trying, okay, now we've got to account for that guy. And I think that's what the NFL and the NFL Players Association and the league all comprising is trying to get more towards is bringing back spectacularity to the special teams effect. They want to get that aspect of the game back and jumping. We hear the kickoffs where it goes, oh, right? So they want to get all that back incorporated. Yeah. So, imagine to that effect, you got Turpin on the back end and you got them lined up to where these players can't move. until the ball touches the player's hands. Turpin's already shown you what he's capable of when that's that scenario. So, like MCW alluded to earlier, they're starting to scheme for Turpin. And like McCarthy has shown you recently, and Schottenheimer has shown you recently, they can, I don't know if they will, I don't know if they will continue, but they can incorporate Turpin into this offense.
That's why I kind of was going to just add in there that I will say, even though I want to see more Turpin used, I will say this is the year they've used him the most already in the offense, and it's paid off. So we need more Turpin on offense as well. We've already seen a lot more than usual, but we need to see more.
I think I forgot to mention this when we talked about the offense, but unfortunately for Brandon Cooks, the best thing to happen to our offense is him not being there currently. Because Tolbert got his time to shine. Turpin has had his time to shine.
Yep.
You know,
Brooks is getting ready. Maybe Flournoy.
Our offense looked better without him there, even with everything else being the same. So hopefully we can work him back in a more successful way.
Tolbert looked like a good number 2 there for a second there, better than Brandon Cooks. So.
But yeah, and to share kind of my general final thoughts here, I mean, again, that is one of the positives looking forward, right? Our team in another 2-3 weeks is going to be healthier. It's going to be, hopefully, you know, we're going to have some of those pieces that we didn't even have week 1 returning to the team. It seems like defensively the scheme is starting to click and we're starting to flow better, and offensively McCarthy's being forced to use different weapons, which has opened things up.
Finally use the running game a little more, right?
So we're at least trending positively.
Lipke's catching and blocking, and Rico's running, and Zeke's getting a couple carries. You know, that's all we need.
So for right now, it's early enough in the season that we might have started it by, you know, trying to run to the finish line and then falling flat on our faces, but we're picking ourselves back up. We're dusting ourselves off, and there's still a lot of football left to play.
Yep.
So I am trying to remind myself of that, and just remember that yes, we can do it, and our Cowboys have the personnel. We have this potential. We just got to go out there and execute.
Yeah, week by week is the way to take it. Yeah, give us your.
The Cowboys went. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, if you want to give us your final thoughts on this up to this point before we reconvene again in the future. And have your, I think we have one more for you, right? One more show for you to jump on here. So when we reconvene, I'm just saying, like, I wanted you to kind of give me your thoughts here going forward with this team. And you know, I would say, like, you know, what do you want to? You kind of made a point already about these things, but, like, you know, this next month or so, you know, is going to be big.
What do you want to see from the team?
Yeah.
As far as from what we were just speaking on, I would like to see that these players come back fully healthy. They're not rushed back on injury, and you know, I hate injuries. I really do. I hate it for all NFL players, but we can't avoid them in such a physical contact sport, and so it happens, and we have to accept that with the NFL. But I hope that these guys come back 100. You know, we've seen folks that we've had injured come back and they didn't look 100 and they were already out there on the field and they shouldn't have been. So I hope that that's not the case. But I feel like when we do get these players back, it's only going to be better at the timing of the season versus who we are playing schematically. And it only benefits and blossoms and fruitens for the team as these players make their way back onto the roster. I like that. You had mentioned Lawson is coming back, is actually activated from the practice squad, because I've always felt that this individual could contribute highly to the team. And if you've got these young guys with your top 5 guys out and they're performing at this level, I think that that's giving you promising dividends for the future, and you could sleep at night with that, I'll say.
Yeah, you know, you look at the schedule, once you get past that Philly-Texans game, I mean, we should have everybody back, but maybe DeMarcus Lawrence. You know, we don't know who gets injured between now and then, but after we get past the next 4 or 5 weeks, we should be seeing our team at full capacity, knock on wood, you know? So, yeah, and if we can hold it down for a couple of these next games, that home stretch, we'll see our best and our worst from our team, and they'll be more confident from the top to bottom, you know, from the starters to the backups to the rookies, the undrafteds, the question mark guys, and beyond. So I do think that this Steeler game was a big game to keep us at least afloat for that possibility. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So if and to answer both of your questions in closing, we have, and I don't really, this doesn't pertain to my Cowboys, but we have an election next month. And then, forget the election, we have the November 5th trade line. Jerry motherfucking Jones.
I was going to say the same day, isn't it?
Excuse me, MCW, Jerry motherfucking Jones. Stephen motherfucking Jones.
Hey, I'm pretty sure that is their actual legal name.
And please do your due diligence and do your fucking jobs the way that your position is dictating that your assigned duties are made. Do your jobs. If you don't do your jobs, please step the fuck back and allow Mr. McClay, as he just gave us Mr. Seth Williams, please step the fuck back and allow Mr. Will McClay to add prospective, prominent, successful, positive pieces to this team. Because you've already flunked the initial trade deadline. And we saw what we failed at not acquiring in the draft. And they like to attest to how well they draft. The Jones, to the players that are in constant contact with the Jones, to the folks that are watching this show from the Cowboys Inside organization, speak the fuck up to the Jones and tell them that these guys are not it. We lack in very much positions where there are other outside. I can just say this: Did anybody watch the Chiefs game versus Saints game? I don't care about the Chiefs. I don't care about the Saints. I care about the Cowboys. Did anybody see Juju Smith-Schuster, and Kareem Hunt ball the fuck out? MCW, ball the fuck out. And those guys were on prove-it contracts.
Yep.
But we couldn't afford Henry. We couldn't afford XYZ, etc.
Hankins.
Yeah, I call bullshit. So before the November 5th trade line, or even on the November 5th trade line, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, if you're watching, players of the Cowboys organization, if you're watching, speak the fuck up.
I'm going to say this. While we do make trades once in a while, like we traded for Hankins, we traded for a couple guys at trade deadlines, it will be a position of need. It'll be a player of low value and low trade. Be like a 6th rounder for this player we trade for. So I would say, those are the expectations I have with the front office. They will not go get that guy is going to put us over the top. They're going to get a guy who helps us solidify some things. You know what I'm saying? At most, this front office will not take they're ready. They're not going to go in. They already lied about that. They're trying to hide the soft rebuild. They lied about that. So they're gonna go get someone like a Hankins. They'll trade for a Hankins type guy, give away a 6th round pick or a 7th round pick. That's the only trade I see the Cowboys making before that November 5th trade deadline. In my opinion. So
that's all I really, in comprising. That's really what I expect. I expect these players to come back healthy. I expect the players that competed in the Steelers game the way they competed at the level of high capacity that they competed to compete that way against the Lions and for the Jones to get their ass cheeks off their palms and do something. Yeah. Pick up that damn phone.
I wish, man. Brother, I wish. I hope so, but I don't.
The only thing Jerry's picking up is a McGriddle.
Yeah, I do think that, I'm with you. I really hope so. I just don't want to expect it from them. And by the way, I think that, because Seabass, we owe him another over everything interview, you can say. What I was thinking, I know that maybe it's more like kind of get it done for you sooner than later, but looking at the schedule, I mean, the bye week is a good time maybe to check back in with me at the end of the bye week. I don't know, but maybe during that bye week we can get you back on here and I know it's only one game separated, But maybe there's a
I mean,
way.
it is against the Lions, though,
It is
so
a
it's
game.
not like it's a nothing burger.
And we'll also know which guys are coming back for the Niners by this point.
True.
So that could really be a second half of the season kind of deep dive with Seabass here during the bye week, because we'll definitely have a chance to do that then. But it's up to you, Seabass. If you want to wait a little longer, we can do that. But again, of course, if you go back to the over everything level, then we'll obviously you'll have another one in the future, in the near future. So we've just been so overwhelmed with a lot of different changes and things going on our side, and now the hurricane, and we were sick last week, so we do apologize.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your night to come and chat it up with us. Of course, we always appreciate you sharing your thoughts, dropping the knowledge, dropping the facts here on the MCF side of
Mr.
things.
Seabass always drops the real deal and his thoughts, and we love that. We appreciate that, man. And you are the man. You really do, you're very vocal and knowledgeable about, in my opinion, very, very knowledgeable about our team. And I love to hear the passion. I love to hear sometimes if you bring up some great points that it scoots by us. I hope I bring up good points for you, and we. That's what makes us better Cowboy fans, is we learn from each other. So
that's what makes me call in. I've got nothing but an unsaturated, unfiltered, non-biased, no bullshit. I've got a couple. Where do you get that? I've got a couple here that is advocating avidly for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And they don't give a shit about your feelings. We're going to put perspective into facts and facts into perspective. And if you can't handle that, well, then you need to go to church.
Exactly. You got to go and find one of the happy-go-lucky channels.
Yeah,
feed you all the bullshit.
I think the dollar store still has some gold star stickers.
Yeah, you have to go to the Happy Cowboy Fan, delusionalcowboyfan.com if you want that kind of talk.
And look, I'm not going to. I'm not naming names. I'm not degrading, slandering, but you guys can, attest to it yourselves, and folks in the chat can do it as well. But where do you know where you can come to one channel where, and this is real big, and this is not a diss towards MCW, and shouldn't take it in any sort of way, but most men are not looking to hear from women on commonalities as it pertains to this sport. And so I feel most men that are a part of this family, shout out to La Familia, I feel like most men that are a part of this family, we can proudly, astutely say that we respect this opinion. We value this opinion. This isn't unsaturated. This isn't unfiltered. You're not going to get that bullshit. Yep. You're going to get that straight up hard, cold facts. If you're not doing your assignment, if you're not producing, if you're not being productive, you're just being active, you're taking space on the roster, and you're making mistakes and causing the team this and that, you're going to be called out.
Yep.
Flat out, point blank and simple. And I know that there's plenty of Cowboys players within that organization that watch all of you influencers and new media channels, and they hear it, and they don't like being called soft. They don't like being called weak. They don't like being called this and that. But that's what we're here for, that we need to make a presence as fans and make these players and the owners and the organization as itself feel that, hey, we're here. We're the ones that made you as successful as you are and made you what you are today. And when we see bullshit, we're going to call it bullshit. You cannot call Granny's lemonade piss if it's not piss. It's piss.
Yep.
Yeah, and and I love to hear all the different perspectives.
Yes,
and
we
can yell. We can yell at Jerry Jones.
Yes,
with.
And thank you so much, Seabass. That is one of the highest of compliments.
Yes,
I try to live my life with the confidence of the average man speaking football.
You do a great job, though, baby, and you know that, and everybody on this channel knows that, and most people that have crossed our paths know that.
The funniest part to me is always when people are like, "Oh, well, women can't even play football, so you can't even comment on it." Last time I checked, you sitting on your couch eating Doritos didn't play football either.
You know what? I have a daughter, and I'll just end that debate right here. My daughter is strictly going to be raised right because she's going to be a Cowboys fan.
Damn right.
She's already on the right path.
So I'll say this. I'll say that to say this. MCF, MCW, specifically pertaining to MCW, Mina Kimes ain't got shit. All right? So when you want to hear, okay, because when you get broad-based media, you get folks like what Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp's message is to you, Cowboys fans. When you come here to My Cowboys Family, when you come here to the other channels, you get real, cold, hard facts. And I don't know if you guys can attest to this, both you, MCF, and MCW, but when recently in this year and in last year, when we have made specific comments about a specific aspect of the team's performance, they have made adjustments. Maybe they didn't make adjustments when we wanted them to, but they have made adjustments. That's your voice, MCW, MCF. That's your voice, Cowboys Chat, Blue Star Nation, Blue Star Empire. That's your voice.
That's the influence, and I think
Jerry
that
Jones got flexed out of that game, and that really pissed him off because that hurt his pockets. That's your voice.
Hey.
Use that voice. It's a weapon. Use that voice. Voice your opinions as a Cowboy fan. You buy those jerseys. You buy those tickets. You travel. You support this team. Use that voice.
Yeah, if
You
our
come here
voice
to
didn't matter,
MCF and MCW, you use that voice because those players and those people within that organization are watching. They're listening. They're hearing you.
yeah, if our voice didn't
And they
matter,
don't like
Jerry
that
wouldn't be
criticism.
double and tripling down on, saying the comments that he was saying and trying to inspire hope by saying, no, I promise you
folks are
guys will be
making him
good.
walk back his own very comments. Oh, we're all in. He walks that back. Oh, we're all out. He walks that back. We're
Yeah.
soft rebuilding. He walks that back.
he
He
guys
said
are
soft rebuild. I
making
still
him
need you
check
guys
his
to buy
pants.
tickets.
Yeah, I can't say it's a soft rebuild. We're only in week 5. That's what Jerry
I just
Jones
made
said.
Dak and
rebuild.
CD. I better raise
It's a
those
soft
prices an extra
rebuild.
$5.
He'll raise the prices, and then the fans will get mad at Dak.
Admittance that he fucked up. Excuse
Exactly.
me, MCW.
Oh, but thank you so much, Mr. Seabass. I think that's the perfect note to end it
yeah.
on. But thank you again for coming here, chatting with us, hanging with us. And you know why? I know why you're here. I know why we're here.
Yeah. You want to say what?
I'll say it. With the honors.
It's that navy blue.
Let's
that's
go, motherfucking Cowboys.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I love it. I love
Never
it.
forget it. Go Cowboys. Go motherfucking Cowboys.
Let's go for 6.
Hell yeah, 6 and beyond.
Hey, brick by brick. So, thank you
Seabass,
again,
yes, get back to
Seabass.
us on if you want to come back in a couple of weeks. You want to go a little farther than that?
Blood by blood, we gonna get it either way.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep, and again, hit us up behind the scenes. We'll work out
The next
the
time.
details and
Whether
the
it's-
timing of your next appearance
Whether it's
on
like
here
a special
so we can chat it
bye-week
out.
appearance or something else in the future. But either way, let us know so we can plan it. And we'll get your final one on here. And then if you want to keep going, we love hearing from you, brother. So I truly appreciate your thoughts, your
Insights.
insight and perspective on our Cowboys.
Your
That's
knowledge.
definitely changes some things up for me when I learn from you guys, and you're one of the people we learn from here. So big shout outs to Steve Bass.
Absolutely, the gas ain't empty yet, so I'm gonna keep pedaling.
You know it. Hey,
And Cowboys for life, DC for life.
You know
it,
Win,
man.
lose, or draw.
It's
We
always
bleed, we sweat, we tear.
that star
but
over
it's
everything,
DC
brother.
L.
And hey, that's why I say the star over everything. That's the top of it, right? And that you're the top of that. That's over everything is the top of the membership. So thank you, brother. Again, big shout outs to you, and never forget, go Cowboys! You
Go
know it.
Cowboys!
Hell yeah! Much love to the man, Seabass in the house, keeping it 100.
Always.
So
And I'm
big
going to go
shout
ahead
out.
and do some final shout outs here
Yes.
in the chat. Before I do, though, we have to tip the hat to the sponsor of the week, Mr. John Luna. Thank you so much for representing not just there. He's also the membership gifting champion.
Yes, he's the gifting champ. Second time in 3 or 4 weeks, but basically, taking over the leader, the main guy here on the overall board and the gifting board. And then I also want to shout out. I don't know you.
Speaking of taking over, he took over as a stream boss.
Unfortunately,
Mr.
he is-
Cab 52.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's a Niner fan. But hey,
Cab
big-
52 is not a Niner fan.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you meant
Oh,
taking
sorry.
over
I
as
said
stream
Cash
boss.
App, Cash App.
Yeah, baby. I mean, you can't put it on me all the time.
Sorry. That
you
one
said,
was me.
You said stream boss. I'm looking at Harley Dad because Harley Dad is a Niners fan. Gotta get. It's funny. We're at the 48ers right now, not the 49ers. We're 48 points on the stream boss for Harley Dad. But yeah, he's holding that down right now. I just know one thing, guys. Before our game, and we might lose power, but before our game, we gotta somehow get Harley Dad off of that, so we don't jinx us with his Niners presence on our stream boss. But
we'll pull up in a McDonald's parking lot and make it work if we have to.
We'll leave it there until it gets worked all the way down to 0. But we also want to shout out, yes, like you said, the king of the Cash App. The man, Cat52, much love to you, and he is a blue, true, and for life Cowboys fan. So big shout out to Cat52, the current king of the Cash App. Now, currently there is no leader in the Cash App. There is no leader on the gifting board. So there's no leaders there. With basically a Friday, maybe, and our Sunday streams to go for the rest of the week. So we'll see if we get some winners on those boards. But also, of course, Harley Dad holding down the stream boss, and the overall lead right now for that sponsor of the week, trying to take it over to that John Luna spot. Currently, the leader is Lincoln Kane, repping that Star Away in Australia. Ooh. But with Lincoln Kane, we also have Traveling Fools, Amazing Games, Captain DCW, all back in the membership in the Navy Blue crew, and Ramon and Emily Jones dropping that $3 Brandon Cooks holler, along with Calvin Richards with the drops of the night. Calvin Richard, multiple drops, and he's in second place on the overall board, as you can see right above my head right now. On that note, it is time to wrap it up for the night and call it a night here. I'll be on After Dark for just a little bit because it is a hurricane kind of ending stream for us over there and here too. So hopefully we'll be back here on Friday, and hopefully we can make it through tomorrow. On Wednesday, we're going to go on After Dark and probably do a little hurricane stream, but we're going to be taking safety first on that. So those are the things that are coming up in more recent time. But of course, our Cowboys, we're watching the injury report, we're watching the practice reports, and like I said, we're going to have 5 or 6 guys that are going to be out or going to be, not out, but I'd say out of practice, not practicing, limited. Just, we'll see how things go, but expect we went over all the injuries today. I expect to see most of these guys kind of taking the bye week until, and missing this Detroit game, going to the bye week, and then being more ready, more prepared, healthier against the Niners in a couple of weeks afterwards. So, that is it here for us on My Cowboys Family. A big shout out to everybody on the boards, all across, and those that dropped the love and dropped the comments in the chat tonight as well. So, is that all the shout outs in the chat?
Yeah, let me see. True Cowboys, Scorpio, Frank Moyer, of course, Seabass, Ronan the Voice. We have Luis Ortiz, Thomas Garrett, Superior Garrett, of course. Rolling back a little bit. We had Godless Manitoban in the house. Hello. AOD, much love.
AOD. D. True Cowboy, much love to you. Scorpio, Frank,
Jarrah
Seabass
Jones in the house as well.
Jarrah.
I know, of course, Calvin Richard.
Yes.
Dropping the love. But thank you guys. Thank you, everyone. T-minus 24 hours.
To the hurricane hitting.
This will be tomorrow night.
We hope we have power. We hope we still have power.
Like at the worst of it, I think. Yeah. So with that said, thank you guys. You know why we do what we do.
Yeah, baby. You got to tell them why we do this here on MCF almost every single day and night for the last over 7 years. Why do we do this here on My Cowboys Family?
Navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. Here on MCF, we always rep that star over everything. And here on this channel, My Cowboys Family, here on YouTube, on My Cowboys Family, never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys! Let's get that 6 and beyond. And be motherfucking on. Thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long. Truly appreciate and humbled by the best fans when you guys dropping that love. We can't say more. We can't say how much we appreciate it and honored and humbled by your drops. So thank you, whether it's in the membership, super chats, whatever. And we'll see you guys on the After Dark session as well. On that note, it is time to clock out and drop out for the night. We will stay safe and update you guys as much as we can through Discord and through Twitter on our situation here with the hurricane hitting us, Hurricane Milton, head on. But we should be okay. We took all the proper precautions. So thank you guys for your concern and your thoughts. Appreciate everybody. Thank you guys. You guys stay safe as well. And before we can officially drop out of here for the night and say goodnight, baby, what do we got to do before we drop out of here for this evening?
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. Big time beat drop right there. And a big time shout out to Seabass for being in that over everything level. Got one more to go for him on his tab. And then, we've been caught up. We've been hearing a lot from Mr. Seabass. He's been dropping them facts here live on My Cowboys Family. Special thanks to everybody But extra special thanks to Seabass coming up on here on the Over Everything style of things. Guys, you can be anywhere you're here with us. Listen to news, Cowboys, news, info, and updates right here in MCF for another Cowboys Chat. And we recapped the shit, literally, out of Schittsburg. Kicked their ass off the beam. And now it's time to tie up and clamp up the Lions. They're next. Even if we got old-ass Tales from the Crypt Jerry Jones, we got some new blood here ready to take over. And, hey, we got a little glimpse against Pittsburgh this past Sunday night. Let's see if it continues. Can it be sustainable? We hope so right here on MCF, My Cowboys Family. It's always about that navy blue, silver too, and that star over everything. Never, ever damn forget the number one thing here on My Cowboys Family. You guys in the house keeping it going. Thank you for watching. Thank you for chilling with us and hitting that like button for the stream, subscribing to the channel, the notification bell to all videos so you know when we're going live, following us on Twitter, X, at My Cowboys Family. We got Discord. The link is in the description. And thank you guys for all the love and support. We'll see you soon. Stay safe from the hurricane. We're going to try. Everyone stay safe out there. Peace and love. We'll see you soon. And never, ever forget, Go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat.